Hello to all fans of Naruto Lemon. I will post all Naruto Lemon Yaoi, Yuri, or Naruko Lemon stories only on the Boosty channel because Uncle YouTube condemns this. Therefore, I invite everyone who wants Naruto Lemon content to my Boosty channel. Good luck.
お前はどこまで見えている。俺の死に様か。
Along one of the streets of the Leaf Village, among the stream of indifferent villagers, a little girl of about 8 years old, with long blonde hair to her waist and sky-blue eyes was walking. She was dressed in a loose orange t-shirt and light beige shorts to the middle of her thigh. The wind pleasantly touched her soft skin, leaving behind weightless warm kisses. She always loved the way the wind played with her clothes. Her dark blue sandals were already all in dust and sand from endless running on the roofs and walking along the streets, but they joyfully beat out the sound of each step along the village road, raising small clouds of road dust behind them. The crowd seemed to part in front of the girl, giving her way. Someone silently gave way to part of the pedestrian zone, someone quickly crossed to the other side of the street, trying not to meet the child's gaze, someone cursed and, muttering something under their breath, turned the corner onto another street. Perhaps it was due to habit, or perhaps it was due to the frozen, emotionless face and the absent, glassy gaze. Whatever the villagers had thought up, simple thoughtfulness was reflected on the small face. Naruto Uzumaki walked along the main street of Konoha, her hands in the pockets of her shorts and her thin, light eyebrows furrowed. As if she were in a completely different universe, the girl slowed down. In her head, one thought replaced another at the speed of light. Naruto mentally summed up, I hid the paint and brushes yesterday behind a chiraku, the disguise is also there. Get ready, the whole village. Now you will all see something. I will prove to all of you that I can easily become Hokage. I will be the first female Hokage. You will see it for yourselves. The day will definitely come when I save the entire village from evil enemies, and you will all respect me. And then I will not listen to your ridicule, or your name-calling, or anything. Naruto walked to the ramen shop on autopilot, hung around for a few minutes to check out the situation, and only then turned behind the building, to the pile of junk that the owner kept there, broken chairs, damaged cutlery, chipped dishes, and many other useless things, the purpose of which Naruto did not quite understand. She also did not understand why the trash could not simply be thrown out. Everything that could interest Uzumaki, she had already dragged home. But this improvised storage allowed her to hide everything she needed for her fun outside the house, which saved her the energy of carrying all the materials. So today Naruto grabbed the brushes in one hand and the can of paint in the other. The walk up the stairs to the carved portraits of the former Hokage took a long time. But for Naruto the end always justified the means, especially if it was guaranteed to be fun. Uzumaki reached the stone image of the first and grinned mischievously right in his face. So who is he now, when anyone can draw whatever they want on it? Naruto enthusiastically set to work, until the trained eye of the shinobi, standing on guard, spotted her. Uzumaki spent an incredible amount of time and effort on the skillful painting of the Hokage's faces. Some sixth sense told the girl to break away from her work and check the area for pursuit. And so it turned out, 2 shinobi were already rushing towards her at lightning speed. Naruto did not have time to cover only the 4th with paint, but she tried so hard with the 3rd, no one had such a straight, curled mustache, Naruto could promise that for sure. Running away from the crime scene, the prankster shouted. Hey, all of you! Look here! It's me, Naruto Uzumaki. The future Hokage. Come on, catch up. And the pair of shinobi chased the happy girl even faster. In the trees, the ninja lost sight of the small child and decided to split up. Having quickly run down the cliff, Naruto, smiling from ear to ear and laughing cheerfully, ran to Ichiraku, her warehouse. There was everything she needed, including pre-prepared camouflage sheets and fabrics of different colors, sizes, and textures. Uzumaki could often get confused in them and grab something that was completely inappropriate for the situation. So she decided that she needed to clean up here someday. Someday later. Tomorrow. And now she quickly found the knocked-down boards left over from installing the fence and stood at its end, hoping to hide behind the pieces of wood she had brought. Haha. What kind of shinobi are you, FK? You can't see through a simple trick. Uzumaki shouted proudly at the whole street, getting out of her simple disguise. She saw with her own eyes how those two rushed past, not noticing the trick. When I become Hokage, I won't have such idiot shinobi. Let's go. To the Hokage, the shinobi who appeared out of thin air angrily said, scaring the girl to the point of screaming. And the previous couple dissolved in a pop of cloning technique. You found me, Naruto whined with annoyance. Two adults stood over her, hands on hips and drilling serious, angry looks, with 4 eyes. It was getting creepy. She didn't want to run away at all. Hanging her head, Naruto trudged to the third. One of the shinobi only sighed in the way that people only sigh when doing completely unnecessary and annoying work, and threw the blonde over his shoulder under her loud scream. But Uzumaki quickly pulled herself together and fell silent, as if ashamed of this brief moment of fear and demonstration of strength. A couple of minutes later, she crossed her arms over her chest and turned her head to the side, looking at the landscapes of Konoha. Come on, one of the Chunin chuckled, unable to stand the unusual silence. Did you really invent the shut up Naruto no jutsu? That's probably true, the other answered, grabbing the girl more comfortably. I'll have to apply for a patent to the third, the shinobi grinned. Huh. Oh no. Naruto answered cheerfully, waving her hands for persuasiveness. Someone like you won't be able to invent their own technique, especially against me. I'll come up with a technique when I grow up. What have you done? The partner lamented. Now she won't shut up the whole way. This is so that we don't get bored dragging her. Hokage's office. You again, Naruto? The third frowned. What have you done this time? Sarutobi shook his head disapprovingly and put aside the documents he had been studying before the two shinobi arrived with the gift. Big deal, I painted the portraits on the rock. What's wrong with that? They're not expressive at all. Actually, I tried to make your face the most beautiful. The girl muttered discontentedly, turning away. Oh, Naruto, Naruto. What can I do with you? The question sounded clearly rhetorical, it hung in the air like a huge elephant. The third got up from the table and went to the window, lighting a pipe. His gaze opened up to another of Naruto's creative masterpieces. It could not evoke anything except laughter through tears, but the Hokage did everything in his power to remain a strict and fair head of Konoha. He continued, I am very glad that talent has awakened in you. Really? Do you admit it? Naruto interrupted Sarutobi without any embarrassment. There was so much hope in Uzumaki's eyes that they could illuminate Konoha for a whole year without interruption. But he is not perfect yet. So you wash it off before tomorrow, the third said with a smile. Old man, you are a sadist. The blonde began to be indignant, energetically waving her hands in the air. What is? The Hokage shrugged his shoulders in confusion. And in the evening, before sunset, the same pair of shinobi carried Uzumaki back to the rock. Both had to make sure that the girl completely washed off her drawings and brought the rock into proper condition. The boys exchanged jokes and laughed, but kept Uzumaki in sight the whole time. These two knew well what 1 second without supervision would turn into. But Naruto refused to be discouraged and, exaggeratedly noisily snorting with discontent, continued to scrub the hated portraits. The shinobi did not let her even change the water, renewing the buckets with the water technique. Naruto promised herself to learn this technique at home, so that next time she could prove to these ninja that she could do even better. Before sunset, she completed the tedious and boring work of washing off the paint and walked home under the same escort, thinking, why did this happen to me? Another ordinary day in the life of Uzumaki Naruto passed, when she was able to have fun, albeit with a fly in the ointment. But mistakes are learned. Today is one of the usual April days for the shinobi and civilians of the leaf. The sakura blossoms have gradually begun to add color to the gray workdays. The small pink petals have blossomed a couple of days ago. Lovers declare their feelings under the spreading branches. The shinobi allow themselves for a short time not to think about the endless blood on their hands and the deaths of their friends. Just yesterday, parents were walking with their children in the parks in the evening, putting up with the pink dust on their clothes, and this morning they are already taking them to the academy. Today is the beginning of another school year at the Konoha Ninja Academy. For some, this is another year, and for others, the first. The children who came to its walls after the holidays, already on the threshold, began to miss the past holidays, free time and weeks spent with their grandmothers in other villages. Parents of second graders and older children usually hand them over to their mentors and head off to work to pick up their children from classes during lunch or in the evening. Moms and dads of first-year students stay for a short ceremonial assembly, not yet fully believing that their children will not be under their supervision all the time. Especially sentimental mothers cannot hold back a few lonely tears, but immediately wipe them away with their palms while the children are not looking. Today is their day. Today the precious flowers of life are in the center of attention. First graders look around the area outside with big, happy eyes, for the first time in their lives letting go of their mother's hand for a long time. First graders listen attentively to the instructions of their sensei and the wishes of the respected Hokage, who himself graduated from this same academy in the distant past. Children are taken to the academy in classes, led by the senseis assigned to them. Parents go about their business and look forward to the evening to meet their children and ask them about their first impressions, cook their favorite dish for dinner, and at the end of the day wish them good night. Today was a special day for all families with first graders. Many children got up before their parents, washed themselves, dressed in their holiday clothes, washed and ironed by their mothers the night before, had breakfast with their parents at the kitchen table, and put on their new sandals, polished to a shine by their fathers. Many parents had been listening to the same questions all morning. When are we going to go? Is it soon already? Isn't it time now? All of this was both joyful and tiring at the same time. But not all houses were noisy. It was already 9 in the morning, the official ceremony was over, the first lesson was about to start, and Naruto was still sleeping. She woke up feeling cold, she had no blanket, and her thin pajamas made of a t-shirt and shorts did not protect her from the fresh street air. Opening her sleepy eyes, the girl reluctantly sat up. On the floor. She must have fallen over again in her sleep. As usual, she couldn't figure out who she was or where she was for a long time. She looked at her watch for about 5 minutes. For some reason it seemed to her vaguely that today was a very important day and something was supposed to happen in just a few minutes. In 1 second, the whole picture of life in Naruto's head came together. She remembered what day it was. Panic was reflected on her face and in her gaze, restlessly darting around the room in search of the clothes she had prepared yesterday. Having finally come out of her sleep, Naruto, without making her bed, rushed to the toilet. Having dressed hastily, without even having breakfast, she ran towards the school. She was lucky that today was the first day, and the teachers were more peaceful, turning a blind eye to possible lateness as an exception. Having run to the academy building, Naruto stopped to catch her breath. The outdoor area was expectedly empty, everyone was already inside. Having entered, the girl ran into a chunin at the entrance, guarding order and security on the territory of the academy. They looked at her with great surprise. The child had come alone and without parents. "Good morning," the shinobi greeted dryly. "Are you looking for something?" "Yes, I didn't make it in time for class, I don't know where to go," Naruto answered. "Wait a few minutes, I'll look at the list," the guy said. To the girl's surprise, he didn't even ask her name, as if he already knew her name. But why? This question haunted her, but the duty officer wasn't in the mood to talk, so Uzumaki didn't risk asking. The academy's management wisely passed on lists of first years with their names, class, senseis, and parents' names to the duty officers, so that if such lost children were found, the problem could be quickly solved. And this list came in handy every year. Classroom number 5, it's the third door on the left, straight down the hall, the shinobi broke the silence. And he immediately asked, "Will you find it?" The door opposite the wall, with the portraits of the Hokage. Of course I will. Naruto answered immediately. Who doesn't know what the third looks like? The teacher on duty only chuckled. Naruto really quickly found the door to her classroom, but opening it was scary and exciting. What if everyone there had already become friends? What if the teacher was a strict old man? What if? Uzumaki pressed her ear to the door and could hear Iruka's calm and familiar voice. He constantly caught her in the village for various pranks. One fear was gone, she could safely go in. Naruto opened the door and walked in. So many pairs of eyes looked at her at once that she couldn't count. Now she felt more uncomfortable and timid than ever. Hello, Naruto, why are you late? The sensei asked sternly, putting his textbook aside. Uzumaki was taken aback at first. Was this the same Iruka? The one who yelled at her and looked for her all over the village? Naruto can't just say that he overslept, can he? We need to come up with something worthwhile. Okay, you'll stay after class and tell us, decided the sensei. We don't have that much time now. Now introduce yourself and sit down. Hello everyone, Naruto addressed the class, catching many interested and bored glances in half. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, and I would be glad to be friends with you. The girl smiled radiantly. At the same second, she heard Iruka whisper, bow. Bow out of politeness, Naruto. And then, out of fear, she bowed. Usually, she didn't have to be in such situations when meeting someone. Usually, they either yelled at her or just spoke to her informally. Great, you can sit down, allowed the sensei. So, let's continue the lesson. Walking further into the classroom, Uzumaki noticed only one free seat, which was next to some brunette. She couldn't help but be glad that it was the last desk. Here she could sleep peacefully and ignore the teacher. Her neighbor looked at her attentively, but when Naruto looked back, he turned away and laid his head on his folded hands on the table. Should I try to get acquainted, or what? Hello, the girl whispered. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. But there was no answer. Are you asleep? Hello, the interlocutor tried very hard to hide a yawn. I'm Nara Shikamaru. I'm asleep. If you really want to, we'll talk later. Yeah, Uzumaki said thoughtfully. You're a lazy person, I see, the blonde stated the fact. But again, she received no answer. The first impression of this guy was definitely positive. Naruto was sure that they would definitely become friends. Maybe this Shikamaru would become her first friend? Half an hour later, this boring lesson was over. During the remaining time of the lesson, Naruto examined the backs of all her classmates. Some had family crests, some did not. She had definitely seen some of them on the streets. She had definitely seen that girl with pink hair, and the blonde too, they often walked together. Maybe they were friends? The girl also remembered that fat guy. He hated it when people tried to eat his food. It was not so bad, Naruto would definitely get to know everyone and remember the names of each classmate. She firmly decided to come to class early and spend time with other children. Class, Iruka addressed the students. Today was your first day at the academy. You may leave. Classes always start at 9 o'clock. No lateness. But no one was listening to him even half-heartedly, quickly running out of the classroom and out to their parents. Shikamaru woke up, noticing suspicious activity around him. Let's be friends? Naruto immediately suggested to him when they were walking together to the doors of the academy. Well, go ahead, Nara agreed. Just don't stop me from looking at the clouds. I don't like it when people do that. At the clouds? Well, yes. I like to relax like that. Shikamaru was definitely looking for someone in the large crowd of adults standing nearby. Oh. There's my father. The brunette exclaimed with a smile on his face. Bye. Bye, Naruto said sadly, watching her first friend being warmly embraced by his father. Uzumaki turned away and went to the exit from the academy territory, because she didn't need to look for anyone. No one would look for her. Why don't I have parents? Where are they? Why aren't they with me? Is something wrong with me? These thoughts replaced one another while Naruto was walking home, lostly looking ahead and not seeing anything. The joy of finding her first friend was replaced by the irresistible sadness of loneliness. Uzumaki promised herself that she would definitely find the answers to these questions, no matter how much time and effort it would take. Naruto walked briskly to the academy. Studying promised to be less hard and boring, because Naruto had made his first friend a person with whom she could share lunch during a break or laugh at the idiot sensei right in class, using the last desk as the softest bed. This friend always listened to everything, or so it seemed to Naruto, when Shikamaru dozed off a little to replenish his energy resources. This friend always gave smart advice, or so it seemed to Naruto, because she didn't know anyone smarter than Shikamaru. Could Naruto be called a friend? Probably not yet. Not enough time had passed. He was more of a buddy. Naruto couldn't help but rejoice at her first successful acquaintance, the first person who responded to her greeting, the first person who smiled at her. The girl sincerely hoped that Shikamaru would not be the last person with whom she could laugh and share significant moments in life. Naruto really hoped that she would have many friends at the academy. Naruto really hopes that after graduating from its walls, she will be confident in the people standing behind her. It is from the academy that the path of a kunoichi begins. Therefore, Uzumaki will make every effort to finally be recognized by the entire village. All the grandfathers who grumble at her for just having fun, all the women who cast sideways glances at her as if Naruto were a ghost, no less. And, of course, all the children who bashfully hide their eyes and walk around Uzumaki a few meters away. Naruto sets a goal for himself. She is ready to break her back, but to achieve it. At this rate, floating in her thoughts, dreamy Naruto collided with someone. From surprise, she completely forgot what she was thinking about before and gasped in fear. Ouch! Came from the front. Sorry, I didn't mean to. It's okay. What's your name? Asked the dark-haired guy. Naruto liked him right away. Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki, the girl smiled brightly. And I will become the first kunoichi Hokage. Yeah. And I'm Uchiha Sasuke. The guy exclaimed. Uchiha, you say? Do you have the Sharingan? Not yet, but sooner or later it will awaken. These were the topics of conversation before the academy. All the lessons were over, and Sasuke and Naruto went out into the yard. There was a guy sitting on a swing who looked like Sasuke. Hello, big brother. Hello, Sasuke. How was your school day? Yes, as usual. Today we studied the cloning technique. Wow. And who is with you? This is Uzumaki Naruto. My friend. Sasuke introduced the girl. So you are Sasuke's brother? Show me your Sharingan. Sasuke talked about you a lot. Really? Not now, I work in ANBU, come to the forest outside the village at 7 today. Sasuke and I will practice throwing shurikens. Great! I will definitely come. And Naruto skipped home, and Itachi took his brother by the hand and led him home. This is how the lives of these two children turned out. Naruto was a little late for the meeting because she overslept. And when she arrived in the forest, she found her brothers training. The little girl's head couldn't comprehend how someone could hit the bullseye on all the targets while hanging upside down in the air. Now that was a real shinobi. Uzumaki's mouth dropped open at the sight. She wanted to hit everyone's target just like this guy. That's why Naruto and Sasuke begged Itachi, literally hanging on him. Uchiha naturally had more important things to do. For example, work in ANBU. Itachi, of course, couldn't refuse his little brother. And he was free until nightfall tomorrow. Yes, until nightfall. And so the raven agreed with a smile on his face, in which sadness flashed for a moment like a shadow. Naruto didn't miss it, but she decided to write it off as fatigue. After all, a talent like him probably had a lot of work. Sasuke was a quick learner. He would make a good ninja. Yes, the brother of a man like Itachi-san is obliged not to disgrace him. And everything is going to hell for me. How can Itachi-san tolerate it? Iruka-sensei would have given up already, that's what the girl thought, having missed yet again. Naruto, look at Sasuke, Itachi said calmly. See how he holds his elbow? When he takes aim, he doesn't jerk his shoulder, but moves it smoothly. Then, at the right moment, he weightlessly releases the shuriken. Your shinobi instinct will tell you this right moment. Or imagine that your best friend is there. You need to free him by hitting the rope with the shuriken. You can't get close because there's a trap in front of him. Act. Fine. And Naruto, following all the instructions, hit the target. She hit the target. You see. Itachi-san, thank you so much. You are the best teacher. The girl jumped on Uchiha in joy. Well, exactly. Better than Iruka-sensei. And then the two guys laughed. And Naruto, getting off the Uchiha, too. Well, bye. Itachi-san, Sasuke-kun, see you tomorrow. I still have a new ability planned for today, and at that moment there was great surprise on the brothers' faces. Don't be afraid, I won't kill anyone, Naruto laughed. I'll just load up a few cups of paint somewhere, Uzumaki said thoughtfully. Well, good luck with the practice then. I would watch, but I have work, Itachi said. Yeah. Quite an amusing sight. Watching Naruto get caught is really fun. Naruto's camouflage skills are already showing, Sasuke chuckled. Bye, Naruto-chan, the boys shouted after the girl like real brothers. Goodbye. Now Uzumaki was walking towards the shop with the intention of stealing some paint. Preferably orange. And the two Uchiha, holding hands, were heading home. Yeah, the spectacle of chasing Naruto is really interesting. Those ninjas can't remember her signature moves. And they fell for the colored paper. Then for the transformation technique. Itachi taught her that too. If only he taught her cloning, that would be awesome. Naruto thought, running away to Ichiraku. By the way, those gapers never caught her. Happy with her small victory, Naruto, smiling widely, skipped home. Naruto has a couple more of these performances planned for tomorrow after training with Itachi. She wants to talk him into another technique. But the next evening, a very unpleasant surprise awaited her. With a satisfied face, a happy Naruto walks past the Uchiha quarter. The training is over, and the blonde wanders around the outskirts of the village, with nothing better to do. Seeing the sign of the Sasuke clan, the girl's thoughts went in the wrong direction. Does she admire these two? Yes, of course. They are the first ones she recognized. Everyone around says the same thing. A shinobi is a person who bears the function of a weapon, an obedient puppet in the hands of power, who has no right to a personal life. And to a good, bright life too. The future of a shinobi is death on the battlefield. But Uzumaki did not think so. And she found confirmation of her words. The brotherly love that Itachi gave helped Sasuke a lot. Naruto even wanted an older brother. And tears of despair, sadness, and helplessness gushed from the girl's heavenly clear eyes. And she is still a child. Why did this happen to her? The death of her parents, the contempt that came from nowhere. As if she were some kind of demon. The long-haired girl often asked herself such questions, because she really didn't understand why. And the tears kept rolling down. A stream of stormy thoughts left the girl after the scream. This voice seemed familiar to her. Exactly. It was Sasuke's voice. But what happened? Brushing away her tears, she ran towards his house. Yes, she knew where he lived. She happened to get lost with him once. Thinking over all the options, the girl ran as fast as she could to her destination. She arrived, it must be said, on time. Naruto saw a terrible picture. It would forever be imprinted in her memory. A dark street. The silence weighs on her brain. She can hear someone's ragged breathing, someone's slow steps. Naruto stopped. A child is kneeling in front of a dark silhouette, quietly crying. Crying from the pain that came to him after the death of his parents. Who killed them? His own brother killed them. Why? To test his strength. That was Itachi's answer. Naruto heard everything the brothers were talking about. All the words were etched into her memory. Her little head couldn't comprehend what she had seen. How? How could a person like Itachi do such a thing? Unable to withstand the rush of emotion, Naruto ran out from behind the bush she was hiding behind and hugged her friend. He, feeling the warmth on himself, froze for a second, stopping crying, but he didn't have enough endurance. And he really didn't want to seem weak in front of some girl. Itachi, Naruto said absent-mindedly. I knew you'd come. Naruto fell for these words. Fell for his trick. Into a real genjutsu. Genjutsu. Naruto, don't ask any questions. Everything you're interested in is in your house, on the kitchen table. Listen and don't interrupt. Okay. But. Naruto, take care of Sasuke, please. You understand him, right? You've experienced the same thing he's experienced. And I didn't slaughter the clan on a whim. Take Sasuke and go. Watch over him for the time being. I know you can be relied upon. You'll become a great Hokage. If they ask, say you didn't see my face, the killer was wearing a cloak. End of Genjutsu. Tears started flowing down the girl's cheeks again. But she would find out everything, she would get to the truth. She would have to. Run, Sasuke, cling to life. Hate me, despise me. And someday you will be able to surpass me. After the parting words, Itachi disappeared, flying away like crows. Under the cover of darkness, this Uchiha forever left his beloved Konoha. Sasuke. Sasuke, you have to go. I understand you. This is grief. But please, come with me, I will not let you freeze, Naruto said. She could talk to him without fear of misunderstanding. There could be none. After all, he, like her, quickly matured after the test that life had prepared for him. The boy did not understand anything now, and went with the blonde. Naruto also did not understand much. When she came home, the first thing Naruto did was put the surviving Uchiha to bed, covering him with a blanket. He walked home half asleep, so he fell asleep right away. And the tears made themselves known. Naruto's soul became restless. She, remembering Itachi, decided to check today what he wrote as his excuse. Naruto quietly entered the kitchen and, without turning on the light, felt around for something on the smooth kitchen table. Looking into the darkness, the girl picked it up. Running her hand over the object, Uzumaki concluded, it was a letter. Having drawn a rough plan of the kitchen in her head, Naruto came across a chair and, turning on a floor lamp nearby, sat down. Looking at the envelope, the girl read, from Itachi. Naruto was struck by electricity. She quickly opened the envelope and began to read. When the girl learned such information, her eyes widened in surprise. Here is the text itself. Naruto, if you're reading this, you know what happened. You're too young to understand what happened, but when you turn 12, go to the grave of the first, Senju Hashirama. There, by casting the seal of internal chakra concentration, you will learn more about everything. And now, I ask you to befriend Sasuke, and don't let a man named Danzo Shimura near him. With your character, you can definitely handle it. And also, make Sasuke despise me. It will be better that way. I probably shouldn't tell you, but you may not know this at all. So read carefully. You are the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox named Kurama. A Jinchuriki is a shinobi in whom a demon with 1 to 9 tails is sealed. It was sealed in you by the fourth, Minato Namikaze, who is also your father. Yes, this is a shock for you, but hold on. Because of this demon bijou, the village hates you. After all, the fox caused a lot of trouble for the village. I was 6 years old when you broke out of your mother's body. It is her last name that you bear. But you must learn to control the power locked inside you. Otherwise, it will turn against you. If you can do this, you will be recognized in the village. And do not try to do everything alone. The path of the shinobi is not within the power of one person. So meet people, communicate, fall in love and make friends. It will be easier for you. 5 years have passed. Another sunny day. The beginning of summer. A 12-year-old teenage girl lies half asleep on her bed, staring at the ceiling. Naruto Uzumaki. She woke up a long time ago. Why is she still in bed? Laziness? No. Naruto is trying to understand himself. To understand herself. Just think. To find out that you are a Jinchuriki. Naruto POV. Well. Now I understand. I understand why everyone avoided me, why they beat me, and humiliated me. Even I understand why, who my parents died for. But why me? Why? Naruto. What? Naruto. Who the hell are you? Let me out, Naruto. I jumped out of bed. What was that? Oh, probably that. What's his name? Oh, right, QB. Well, I'll chat with him on the way to the academy, and now. Ramen. I wonder who they put me on the team with. They say there are 3 people on the same team. 2 boys and a girl. I wish I could get to Sasuke and Shikamaru. I wonder how Sasuke is doing. How has he changed? What's on his mind? And Shika? What's wrong with that lazy guy? He probably doesn't plan on going any further than Chunin. Oh. Here's the ramen. Okay, QB. Wait for me. Just let me finish my ramen. End POV Naruto. POV Sasuke. Today they're dividing us into teams. I hope I won't be with weaklings. I don't care. How's Naruto? I heard she found out the truth. Thanks to her for not leaving. Well, it's time. Mom, Dad, I'm going. If it weren't for Itachi. End POV Sasuke. A cheerful Naruto walks towards the academy. Out of habit, she closes her eyes and folds her hands behind her head. And at the same time, she exposes her cute face to the wind. Suddenly, she gets a noticeable push. Hey, monster, today they are dividing us into teams. Naruto heard. Yes. What, are you afraid of ending up with stronger ones? Weakling. Naruto did not remain in debt. Yes, you. Yes. You will go cry to Sasuke-kun. I am now all saw. But no. What made you think that? Calm down already, he doesn't need you, pink-haired weirdo. Sob, I will not give you Sasuke-kun, don't even dream about it. And Sakura ran away from Naruto. And let him run. Spoiled girl. Naruto thought out loud. 9 o'clock Academy. Hello. Take a seat, Iruka said, so, today is the distribution into teams. When everyone recognizes their comrades, sit here and wait for your mentor, we will skip the details. Team 7. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto tensed up. Uchiha Sasuke. Hooray! Naruto's shout filled the classroom. HM. And Sakura Haruno. Yes. Sakura also shouted. Who is this? Uzumaki asked quietly. Sensei Kakashi Hitaki. Where is our sensei? How can you be so late? Naruto yelled, spinning around the office. Naruto, I understand that girls tend to be active, but calm down. Uchiha answered, lying on the desk. Yes. Sasuke-kun is right. Sakura chimed in her usual manner of speech. Sakura, you too. Mumble, Then Naruto laughed, what a great idea. Naruto put a chair by the door, grabbed a brush lying on the floor and put it on top of the door. All the dirty deeds were done. There, poof. And the team saw a man in a mask with a dusty brush on his head. The room was filled with the ringing laughter of the kids. After a half-hour lecture on the attitude towards elders, the team and sensei headed to the roof of the building. There they introduced themselves, and then ran away. To be honest, Kakashi almost burst out laughing after Sasuke said, "I want to kill one person." As if he could do that. And Sakura and Sasuke laughed at Naruto. "I will be a great female Hokage." That's the reason for their laughter. But Naruto had an internal attack after Sakura's sideways glance and words, "I love one person." Poor Naruto. In the end, when she got home, Naruto decided to write down this statement and hang it on the refrigerator. It might be strange, but Naruto got out of bed quite easily today. Of course, Kakashi-sensei asked her not to be late for the first training. "Why did he tell us not to have breakfast?" Naruto asked, locking the house. Naruto walked as usual. Calmly, unhurriedly. Hands in the pockets of her orange breeches, who knows how to do it right, feet shuffling along the road, gaze directed at the sky. She was lost in thought about something, when suddenly she heard a rustle from the side. Almost dotting herself, Naruto turned towards the sound. It turns out that it was just Sasuke, putting his hands in his pockets. Uzumaki was sincerely happy. She would finally be able to talk to him normally. But his inaccessibility drives away and attracts at the same time. He seems independent, and at the same time he is the one who lacks love. Sasuke. Naruto tried to get through to him. But Sasuke ignored everything in his usual manner. Having already spat on everything, Naruto quickened her pace. "Naruto," Sasuke finally answered. "You're just as annoying as Sakura." "You, Uchiha, don't compare me to her." Naruto shouted angrily. "What are you yelling at the top of your lungs?" Sakura shouted, preparing her fist for Naruto. "Can't you see that Sasuke-kun is mine? Sasuke is not yours. He doesn't care about you," Naruto said, dodging the blow. "Well, okay. Then. Sparring on our training ground. Everyone defends their opinion. Whoever wins is right." "Okay, Sakura. I accept your challenge," Uzumaki answered her. Meanwhile, a pleased Naruto, no less pleased Sakura, and a slightly Sasuke are heading to the site to wait for their sensei. The training went well, one might say, except for Naruto's antics. Even Kakashi didn't expect such a bold statement from the girl. Just think. She's going to be a Kage. Hatake was in a daze. And so, inspired by the fact that Sensei took them into the team, all three of them go home. Although now, a joyful Naruto, like a turbo-filled car, rushes along the roofs of Leaf, bulletproof Sasuke, slowly trudges home, and Sakura, chirping something to the Uchiha, trotted after him. But on one of the turns, Haruno finally remembered about the fight with Naruto, so she rushed headlong to eat. Uchiha didn't want to miss the battle of the century, so he didn't waste time either. To be more precise, he ran home as fast as he could. Everyone finally got their fill and dragged their asses to the training ground. 1730, Training Ground Number 3. A lone figure stands in the middle of the clearing, quietly shouting and vigorously gesturing with her hands. Apparently, she is waiting for someone. Suddenly, a shuriken flies at her. The girl dodged in time, but the weapon managed to cut off some light pink hair. Hissing something under her breath, Sakura folded the seals of the cloning technique. 3 clones appeared on the sides. Haruno placed them in the following order, 2 on the side and 1 behind. The 4 were looking for the enemy with their eyes, when Naruto slowly emerged from behind a bush. "Naruto, what about honor? They don't attack from behind." Sakura met the blonde. "I was testing your strength, how come you didn't cry, huh, Sakura-chan? And I attacked from the front." At this point, Haruno's nerves gave in, and armed with kunai, she and the clones rushed at Naruto. "You shouldn't have done that, Sakura-chan." Having shouted this, Naruto rushed towards the real one. Standing in front of his face, Sakura focused only on Uzumaki. The clone stopped. "Sasuke-kun is not yours." Haruno took up the old one. "Sakura, even though your forehead is big, your brain is small," Naruto answered with a smile. "I am not big-headed." Sakura attacked with a scream, but her attempt failed. Someone twisted her arms behind her back. "What? Where are my clones?" Haruno panicked. "Sakura-chan, you have no more brains than Sasuke. Sasuke is smarter than you. While we were talking, the clone that I created before going outside removed yours, and then tied you up. I won, Haruno. Unlike you, I only want friendship from Sasuke." Naruto turned around and slowly walked home, putting her hands in her pockets. And Sakura Haruno stayed there, lying on the ground, looking at the vast sky. Uchiha, who was watching all this, was thinking about Uzumaki's words, and Hatake Kakashi was happy. After all, there was no more confusion in the team. He knew everything would settle down. They would make peace. Summer. Warm sunny weather. Children were playing in the streets, but it was unusually quiet and calm. Genin weren't running around the streets, you rarely even saw Jonin. All this was connected with the exam. The Chunin exam was very important for Genin. After all, they would be able to carry out missions of a higher rank, and not hang around in vegetable gardens and pull out all sorts of weeds. That's why many children trained in different places. Some in the mountains, some in the forest, and some on the river bank. The Jonin also had a lot of work. Even Hatake doesn't shirk, oddly enough. I won't even mention the Kage. Naruto walked along, humming something under her breath. "Oh, how nice. Beautiful. Today I was able to summon Gamabunta. Awesome. I can't wait for the exam. My hands are itching to test my abilities on someone. I wonder what the exam is all about." Naruto thought until she returned to reality. And she did not do it of her own free will. Having collided with someone, Uzumaki looked at this someone with displeasure. Sasuke Uchiha. Apparently, he was also carried away in heaven. I have the elements of lightning and fire. Kakashi said that he will teach me some technique that only I can do. Well, and him of course. Uchiha thought before colliding with Uzumaki. Just as Naruto wanted to say hello, she heard, "Get out of the way." Sasuke and Naruto simultaneously turned their heads to the source. It turned out to be a red-haired guy with kanji on his forehead. Behind him are a tall black cape/Batman guy with bandaged corpses on his back and a blonde with a fan attached to her back. And how did she carry it? After racking his brains, Uchiha closed Naruto's mouth. 3 against 2 is not the best option. And Naruto's swearing won't help. "And who are you, actually?" Sasuke started a dialogue. "We are the San 3. We have come to take the Chunin exam," Kankuro answered reluctantly. "Do you have permission?" Uchiha asked incredulously. "Yes. Here it is." Temari took out the paper. Sasuke glanced at it and missed them. "What did you do, idiot?" Naruto began to hysterically complain. "What did you want? 3 for 2 is not the best option." "You're right, but... do you need more proof?" "No, thanks. But I'll test that red-haired one for strength. I don't like him for some reason." After that, Naruto rushed at Gaara, taking out a kunai. She didn't want to reveal all her cards. However, the red-haired man simply disappeared. And then appeared on one of the tree branches. Upside down. Sasuke even turned on the Sharingan. "You can't get me," Gaara said. "Oh, come on." And Naruto again rushed towards the harmless pumpkin-headed cold-blooded Gaara. But Sand was rushing towards Uzumaki. Sasuke turned on his processor and reflexively moved towards Uzumaki. It was not for nothing that he turned on his Sharingan. At maximum speed, he managed to pull Naruto out from under the sand wave's nose. The training had not been in vain. And the training helped. My speed really did increase. Well, thank you, Kakashi, flashed through Uchiha's mind. Gaara's eyes showed interest mixed with excitement. It was the first time he had met an Uchiha. And such a dexterous one at that. We will fight, Uchiha, the Sandman promised. Of course, the brunette hissed. I want to fight you too, Gaara said, looking at Naruto. Naruto, inspired by the desire to fight, came down from the sky to the ground. The smile on her face gave away all her feelings. But Kankuro clearly did not want to stay on the sidelines. It was noticeable how he took out one of his puppets. Temari decided not to interfere. Since Naruto's mind had switched off, Sasuke became the team's brain. The Black One's activity did not go away from him. Kankuro was also ready for the game. The Uchiha would have to watch two at once. Kankuro, grinning predatorily, examined his puppet. Well, no, brother. It would be a sin to miss the Uchiha. It would be interesting to test his strength. And with such thoughts, the puppeteer went on the attack. Now he moves his fingers and dozens of needles, shurikens, and other things fly out of the wooden puppet. Swiftly cutting the air, they rush towards Sasuke. A second and impacts on the ground are heard. Naruto and Sasuke stood in bewilderment, just like the three of them from sand. Not noticing those three, Kakashi scolds the students. What are you doing? Sort out your relationship outside the village. The last thing we need is chaos in Konoha. You'll explain yourself to the third. I thought you'd just wag your tongue, but never mind. Sasuke, how did you even get in here? Kakashi-sensei, we were just having a little sparring, Naruto defended herself. Yeah, sparring. I saw your sparring. You were almost crushed under the sand, and Sasuke was close to mincemeat, Hatake said, removing the earthen wall. But how do you know? Sasuke asked. I was reading a book on that tree, Kakashi pointed to the tree Gaara had left. And you three, go your own way. So that this doesn't happen again. Kakashi concluded his speech. Sasuke and Naruto, talking like in the good old days, were walking to Sarutobi, and Kakashi was keeping an eye on them, hidden among the leaves. Naruto walked through the night Konoha very happily. It seemed like today was the best day of her life. She had made peace with Sasuke. But Naruto was haunted by that guy. Gaara. He was kind of creepy. And strange, thought Uzumaki. She felt someone's gaze on her. Turning around abruptly, Uzumaki saw Gaara sitting on the roof of one of the houses. The girl prepared for a fight. What is he doing here? Shouldn't he be sleeping peacefully? Naruto asked herself mentally. So. Today my goal is to get this pile of sand to talk. Otherwise, the evening will be wasted again. Having finished racking her brains, Naruto bent down and tried to approach sandstone with the step of a shinobi. However, she was stopped by a gust of sand. This sand literally grabbed the blonde and slowly lifted her up to the roof. There stood Gaara, his arms crossed in his cool pose, well noticed, co-author, on his chest. Hello, Naruto said as if nothing had happened. What are you doing here? Gaara asked in an icy tone, as if he hadn't heard the greeting. I was walking home, turned around to look at the full moon, and you just grabbed me. The blue-eyed girl quickly found an excuse, not realizing that she was now in a vulnerable position. Pustini's face was emotionless. He began to slowly clench his hand into a fist. Naruto's POV. It hurts. What is he doing? And also, why is he bothering me? It's too late now. What if? You're Gaara, right? Why are you doing this? I didn't come here to fight. I want to offer friendship, Naruto said with difficulty, smiling sadly. He stopped. Surprise was visible in his eyes. Even though I was at a distance from him, I saw it. End of Naruto's POV. Gaara's POV. I've never been told these words. Can I trust her? But she's been through the same thing I have. She wouldn't just say that. The life of a shinobi is a constant risk. So, I'll take the risk now. Friendship, you say? I asked. Of course, friendship. Or don't you have any friends? She asked. Yes, I don't have them, I answered reluctantly. Do you think people can be trusted? I tried to dissuade her. What kind of question is that? It's possible. Naruto answered easily. What kind of will is in her? End of Gaara's POV. Gaara himself didn't notice how his hand loosened. He released Naruto from the sand. Gaara sat on the roof and hoped that she would leave, miraculously avoiding death. But no. She has no shortage of tenacity. Gaara. What do you live for? Uzumaki tried to find out the reason for his behavior, sitting down next to him. I don't know. There's a demon inside me. I was born to kill, Gaara answered honestly. So that's how it is. They shoved this creature inside you too? Uzumaki asked regretfully. Also? Yes, also. So you are a Jinchuriki. Who do you carry inside you? The Ninetails, Uzumaki answered reluctantly. And you? One-tailed. What is the meaning of your life? Gaara changed the subject. I will help people and become Hokage. Naruto answered proudly. Hokage? Is something wrong? Naruto fell silent. No, there was a long silence. They could sit like this for as long as they wanted, but Naruto was getting sleepy. Gaara, I'll go, Uzumaki said, yawning. Do you want to sleep? Go, he said indifferently. And you don't? Naruto was surprised. One-tailed won't let me sleep normally. Got it. See you later, Naruto said, standing up. See you later, Gaara suddenly blurted out. For the first time, Naruto was able to open up to someone. I hope this conversation won't be empty for Gaara. It seems Naruto liked him. The whole way home, the kunoichi thought about what happened. He could have killed her. But he didn't. He could have not talked to her, but he did. It seems that changes are happening in him. After talking with Gaara, Naruto felt better. How useful it is to speak out, to release all emotions, to look at the world from a different angle. With Gaara, it became possible. What can I say, it was the first time Naruto met a person like her. A person who experienced the same pain and suffering, the same loneliness, betrayal, deception. It was the first time Naruto met a Jinchuriki like her. But there is a big difference between them. Naruto may not have a family, but he has several friends, a sensei who was the first to recognize her as a person. And Gaara doesn't even have that. Naruto understands Gaara like no one else. Maybe that's why Uzumaki was walking around Konoha at 1 in the morning? Who knows? But her head is definitely filled with thoughts. Her brain thinks on its own, her legs walk out of habit. Stopping, Uzumaki stares at one point, without blinking. Only a familiar voice brought her out of the stormy stream of thoughts. The blonde, not believing her ears, turned to the source of the voice. Gaara is sitting on that very roof. What are you frozen for? Asked the guy. I was lost in thought, Naruto answered with a smile. Have you come again? I'm here every night, the demon answered as if nothing had happened. One-tailed doesn't let me sleep. I see. And a few seconds later, the blue-eyed girl was standing next to the sandstone. The silence dragged on. Gaara was lost in himself, and Naruto simply didn't know what to say. Gaara, do you have a loved one? Someone you can trust with all your problems, shake your soul out on? Uzumaki asked out of the blue. No. And there never was, he said, as if cutting off. Why are you like this? The girl snapped. Why? Because people can't be trusted. You are a living weapon to them. Only hatred awaits you. Why love someone? Gaara said calmly, looking at the moon. But you can find friends, protect them. What is the meaning of your life, huh? I live to kill, the red-haired man said clearly. You're wrong. People can change. Naruto defended her rightness. Uzumaki, I don't believe this. After this conversation, both Jinchuriki harbored misunderstandings and affection for each other. The two crossed paths more than once. With each nightly meeting, their conversations touched on more significant topics, but Gaara was still afraid to open up to this girl. Doubts haunted his soul. Is it worth it? Meanwhile, Naruto's affection for Gaara grew. Every night, Uzumaki came to the roof to see him, to hear his velvety voice. But the young man did not want to leave. At least someone would brighten up his loneliness for a while. Days and nights go by, everyone is preparing for the exam, learning new techniques, methods. This is during the day. And at night, everyone either sleeps soundly or walks along the deserted streets. Our heroes are among the latter. There is one day left before the exam. Uzumaki is not herself. She was so worried that even Gaara had to calm her down. He advised her to sleep it off. Uzumaki, obeying his advice, with a flying gait headed home. It's so nice to run with your eyes closed. Feel the gusts of wind, the cool night air. And Naruto runs home with a wide smile. Because of her speed, the blonde didn't notice someone knocking him down. Sorry, I didn't mean to, Uzumaki apologized, helping the brunette to stand up. Nothing. What's your name? Naruto persisted. Hyuga Niji, the brunette replied. And you, Uzumaki Naruto, go home, Hyuga advised. Thank you, of course, but how do you know my name? Who doesn't know you? Well, yeah. Naruto muttered under her breath. Soon she was lying in bed. Who is this guy? He looks too much like Hinata. How should I behave with Gaara? What will happen at the exam tomorrow? These thoughts tormented the bright head before sleep. Changes are coming. But Naruto has no idea about them. Oh! Uzumaki's scream rang out throughout the house. Crawling out from under the table, Naruto rubbed her head. The thing is, she heard the hateful sound of the alarm clock and tried to get up, but ended up hitting her head on the table. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Uzumaki screamed in a whisper. Feeling for the alarm clock on the table, Naruto turned it off and made her bed. Then Uzumaki ate, what do you think? That's right. Ramen, washed up, and hurried to the first part of the exam. Realizing that time was running out, the blonde decided to pick up the pace, and then even ran. It seems I won't make it. Why did I set the alarm half an hour later? The kunoichi scolded herself in her thoughts. At that moment, Naruto, who was in the clouds, was knocked down. Landing on her butt, the kunoichi glanced at the person who had pushed her, and then smiled. The girl stood up and shook herself off, saying, Hello, Gaara. Hello. Listen, what time is it? The blonde asked in a panic. Only 8 hours, Gaara answered calmly. You don't have to rush, he added. Phew, Uzumaki breathed out in relief and, slapping her forehead, said. I set the alarm for half an hour earlier. Half an hour earlier, not later. Gaara was surprised by Naruto's behavior, but did not ask anything. Do you think you'll pass? Naruto asked, looking more cheerful. I'll hand it over, Gaara answered briefly. As always, you don't want to talk, Naruto muttered under his breath, offended. I don't trust people, the Sandman argued. A demon. Because you are a demon? Uzumaki risked asking. But she did not hear an answer to her question. Realizing that waiting for an answer was useless, the Jinchuriki turned her gaze to the sky. Gaara, Gaara, look! Naruto exclaimed, patting her friend on the shoulder. There's a cloud in the sky in your shape. The guy reluctantly looked at the cloud. Indeed, it somehow resembled the son of the fourth Kazekage. Gaara involuntarily remembered his childhood. How he was hated, how his only friend, his uncle, betrayed him. But no emotions were reflected on the shinobi's face. And Naruto continued to look at the sky carefree. Having tripped over something, Naruto lost her balance and almost fell, when Gaara, who had returned to reality, released some sand from his vessel and caught the girl in time. "Thank you," Uzumaki said, opening first one eye and then the other. "Watch your step," Gaara answered. As always in his manner. The pair walked the rest of the way in silence. Each was thinking about something of their own. Naruto about how to help his new friend, and Gaara about how Naruto managed to survive everything, how she did not break down and did not become the same as him. After all, Jinchuriki are not particularly popular in this world. Having reached their destination, Gaara and Naruto walked into the hall. "Well, good luck," Naruto said, smiling. "You too," said the dog. By that time, many people had already gathered. When everyone had already arrived and sat down, Ibiki entered the classroom. "Hello," Ibiki began. "Now you will be given sheets of paper with 9 questions. Answer them within an hour. You will pass even if at least one answer is correct. 15 minutes before the end of the exam, I will ask you the last 10th question. Yes, if you are caught cheating, you will leave the class. Proceed." Marino explained everything. And the excited graduates of the academies, their hearts beating wildly, all took up their pens and began to answer the questions. Some were already confidently scribbling their answers, while others were still racking their brains over what to write, and some had smoke coming out of their ears. Among the first was Neji, Naruto's neighbor. Having activated the Byakugan, Hyuga was looking intently at the back of the guy sitting in front of him. As it turned out, Neji, without straining himself, was simply copying what the shinobi sitting in front of him was writing. "Thank God, the handwriting is legible," the brunette thought. Looking around the entire class, Naruto found Uchiha Sasuke, who was calm as always, also looking somewhere ahead and simultaneously writing something on a piece of paper. How does he do it?" Uzumaki puzzled. Taking a closer look at Uchiha, Naruto realized that he was using his Sharingan to copy the movement of the pen of the shinobi sitting in front of him. Here Naruto realized her helplessness. After all, she essentially knew nothing and could not copy without being noticed. Therefore, the probability of passing was 0. Why am I not from the Uchiha or Hyuga clan? Now I would be sitting here scribbling an answer to a question. Uzumaki said to herself, clutching her head. Here she decided not to bother with the first question and move on to the second. Oddly enough, Uzumaki did not know the answer to the second question either. The same was true for all the subsequent ones. Sighing resignedly, Naruto looked around the audience again. Even Sakura knows something, the kunoichi thought with annoyance. Look how much has already been written. Turning her gaze to Ino, Naruto again realized that everyone except her was lucky. Hitting her forehead on the desk, Naruto joked, "I should have hit myself on the head with a textbook. Then everything would have been imprinted." Then the girl looked at Gaara. He was sitting with one eye covered with his hand. Why did he close his eye? Did he write everything? No, he's holding a pen in his hand. Does he have a lot of time or something? But then Naruto remembered this technique. The shinobi was also watching her from the roof of the house. Now Naruto realized what was happening. "I'm in trouble," Naruto stated the fact. "What should I do? If I don't answer, our 3 will fly out. I don't know anything at all." Right. Then it dawned on Naruto, a thought. "Naruto," Neji whispered. "What?" Uzumaki also whispered back. "Write it down for me." "Why?" the blonde said, frowning. "Why is he helping me? It would be fine if it was Lee, but Neji. I can't say anything. I'm surprised. There are only 10 minutes left. You will fail the exam." The brunette explained. "I put everything on the 10th question," the girl answered, smiling. "But thank you for your concern." Was all Naruto heard. Apparently, it touched him. Well, he's not a little kid. I hope I don't screw up on the last question, because if I don't answer, our team will be eliminated from the tournament. Eliminated. Eliminated. Then Sakura and Sasuke will kill me. I won't live, Naruto thought. That's it. Time's up, Ibiki's voice rang out. How? Naruto whispered. Noticing Niji's surprised look, Naruto fell silent. Now I will ask the 10th question. But if even one of the team answers incorrectly, that team will cease to compete for the rank of Chunin forever. If you are not confident in yourselves, raise your hand and your team will have the right to take the exam next year. Who wants to refuse? Several people raised their hands. You may go, said Marino. Anyone else wanting to come? At that moment, Naruto was struggling inside. She wanted to refuse. This way, at least we'll get through to next year. And I'll definitely learn everything, Naruto thought. But, looking at her teammates, she changed her mind. Seeing Sasuke's determined face and Sakura with her head held high, Uzumaki realized that she had to answer. I'm asking for the last time. Who wants to leave the class? Silence in response. In that case, you're through, Ibiki said, smiling. The next minute, the examiner saw the surprised or even shocked faces of the boys. Even Sasuke, Niji, and Gaara showed their emotions. Everyone here has passed the exam, Ibiki announced. Hand in your papers, and you may go free. What do you mean? Naruto was surprised. Niji, am I hallucinating? The blonde asked cautiously. I heard that too. Be happy. You're lucky, Niji said, smiling slightly. And he added to himself, and some wrote like crazy. When all the exam participants left, Ibiki, looking through the answer sheets, was surprised by one sheet. It was completely blank. As it turned out, it was Naruto's sheet. She passed, and she didn't write anything at all. The examiner was genuinely surprised. Meanwhile, Naruto Uzumaki was walking home with a smile. After all, the second round is in a month. There is a lot to comprehend and learn. Let's skip straight to the beginning of the fight between Naruto and Gaara. I have to make it. Sasuke went after him alone. No one knows what might happen, Naruto thought, rushing at a furious pace in the direction from which loud sounds of blows and falling trees could be heard from time to time. Periodically, smoke rose into the sky somewhere nearby. Or steam. It was hard to tell from such a distance. Naruto's POV. Naruto, slow down. Pack in and I can't keep up with you. Sakura, as always, manages to pull me out of my thoughts. We need to train more. Understand, Sakura, we might not make it in time. I tried to convey my thoughts to Haruno. Naruto, we are not made of iron. Okay, you can run slower. But try not to linger. I shouted and picked up speed. It would be better if she trained as much as she flirted with Sasuke. It would be more useful. I knew it. You want to get to Sasuke-kun faster than me and be alone with him. I heard from behind. Yeah, I have nothing else to do. I'm not interested in him at all, unlike some people. Why do I need him? I don't give a about him. I blurted out from a feeling of hostility towards Uchiha. As soon as I realized what I had just said and what consequences awaited me, my subconscious decided to rephrase everything for the sake of the integrity of my skin. That is, I am completely indifferent to him, I added in time. It can't be. Sakura exclaimed. Sasuke is perfect. It's impossible not to love him. Almost all the girls in our class are in love with him. He's a fool, obsessed with revenge for his clan. But he can be understood. Although, why talk about this with you? I said calmly, without slowing down. Aya! Sakura screamed, falling from a great height. Oh! A ninja must be ready for anything, always and everywhere. So what if the blast wave reached? That means we're close. So, let's go. Forgetting about Sakura, I again rushed headlong to the place where Gaara and Sasuke were fighting. And Sakura is catching up. Great! Apparently, she wants to see her beloved Sasuke sooner. That means I won't slow down, and we'll get there quickly, I thought after a while. After a short period of time, Sakura and I saw a weakened, exhausted Sasuke lying on a tree. I would have admired this sight if the half-human, half-monster had not rushed towards the Uchiha at high speed. Sakura, who was worried about him, would have screamed the name of the defeated one with fear in her eyes if I had not covered her mouth with my palm in time. Sasuke, why are you lying down? Get up. Gaara, do you want to kill him? Why are you doing this? When I realized that Gaara would not stop, I decided to fight him and find out the reason for his thirst for blood. I want to know what happened to him, and who or what made him so cruel. Go to Sasuke, I whispered to Haruno. Without further ado, she grabbed Pakken and turned him towards her teammate. We're running out of time. I shouted to myself. I'm already talking to myself. Well, how else could it be in my life? There really is no way, the voice in my head answered. Ninetails, what do you want? I have no time for you. I suddenly tore from my comfortable place as fast as I could. This monster had already raised its paw to strike, when a loud slap was heard. I barely made it in time. Just a little more and Sasuke would have been flattened. Having glanced briefly towards the Uchiha and made sure that Sakura and Pakken were safe and sound with him, realizing that this was my chance to defend the lives of my teammates and friends, my interests, and with the goal of changing Gaara, I decided to challenge the demon. Now I'm your opponent. I exclaimed in all seriousness. And he's strong. But I have no choice. I'll defeat him. Gaara. Are you my opponent? He asked again. Yes, just don't tell me that you don't take me seriously. And you're not going to fight me. I screamed mentally. Show me everything you can. First I'll kill you, and then them. Fight for yourself. Come on. Attack. The sand ninja didn't justify my thoughts. Shadow clone jutsu. Shadow clones plus shurikens, and you're gone. Probably, I never fight for myself. I rushed towards the enemy with my shadows. I was quite surprised when Gaara removed almost half of my clones with his hand. And then my clones turned into dust one by one. Having flown back a few meters and crashed into the trunk of one of the trees, I said against my will. Gaara, why are you doing this? There are reasons for that. Stand up and fight. Here and now. Naruto, fight only for yourself. That's why I'm so strong. I'll prove you wrong. I'll prove you wrong. Naruto said, truly believing it. Really? Gaara mocked. Are you doubting me? Naruto asked defiantly. The shinobi only responded with a grin. What will he do? Uzumaki asked herself in a whisper. Once again, her childhood habit was making itself felt. No, the kunoichi blurted out. Try and protect them. Gaara said, heading towards Sasuke and Sakura. The latter, seeing the enemy approaching, covered the exhausted Sasuke with her body, holding a kunai in front of her. I won't make it. Soon after Naruto's words, a sand paw covered Sakura and pressed her against a tree. Sasuke didn't react to everything that was happening here. That means he's unconscious. You see, Naruto, you couldn't do anything, and now your friend is chained to a tree and can't free herself. Fight only for yourself. The Jinchuriki of the One-Tailed defended his point of view. Never. Naruto protested. By fighting for others, Naruto, you become distracted, disorganized, and vulnerable to attack. By fighting for others, you weaken. Gaara kept provoking the kunoichi. Not true. Frowning, Naruto Uzumaki created shadow clones again, each of which took a kunai into service. Many Narutos, who occupied the nearby trees near their opponent, moved towards the carrier of the One-Tailed, simultaneously throwing kunai at him. Having reached the target, the kunai for some reason slowed down and began to slowly sink into the sand hand that the shinobi had put out to protect. Seeing this, Naruto's clones and the original himself stopped. After a second's hesitation, the blonde used the shuriken cloning technique, but without causing any harm to the guy. The weapon was also into the sand. The next second, all the Narutos rushed towards Gaara at full speed, but their attack was choked. Gaara raked some of them with his paw, another with sand, and the third fell from Gaara's sand shurikens. The original fell into the first category. Having landed safely on the branch of a thick tree once again, Uzumaki glanced at Sasuke and Sakura. Sasuke was basically okay, gradually gaining strength and helplessly watching the battle, but Sakura was unconscious and also motionless, attached to the tree. Looking back at her opponent, Naruto was shocked. Gaara's sandy hand had been joined by a tail that had appeared out of nowhere. "Why can't you leave them?" "What did they do for you?" the sand ninja asked, genuinely surprised. "Because they didn't let me stay there." Naruto defended her friends. "They pulled me out of the darkness of loneliness." "You were there too. Why are you killing your opponents?" Naruto lost her temper. "I am so strong because I fight for myself and only myself." The Shikaku carrier changed the subject. "Maybe he's right? Maybe I should forget about them? After all, from the very beginning, they treated and looked at me, like everyone else, as if it was all my fault. Maybe they still hate me?" Naruto thought, looking at Sakura, who was unconscious. "Still wondering how to save her?" Gaara taunted. "Then hurry. My sand is getting harder with each passing second. If you want to save the lives of these pathetic shinobi, attack." The Sandman urged them to begin the fight. At this time, Naruto carefully weighed the pros and cons. If Gaara told the truth, then any mistake or delay threatens Sakura's life. And possibly Sasuke's too. But if I attack him, it will be useless. Gaara. Who made you fall into this pit, to the very bottom? Who made you like this? You know, I'm still grateful to Iruka-sensei, Kakashi-sensei. Maybe to Sakura and Sasuke too. After all, they were the ones who prevented me from becoming like you. Apparently, I would have become like you. It makes me shudder. Thank you all. I won't let you down, and I'll win against him. I won't let him defeat me. Not him. But back then on the roof, he was calmer than he is now. Even though he sat silently, he listened to me. Unlike the others. I even started to like Gaara. I can talk to him about something, even if it's rare, but he doesn't look at me the way everyone else does. With contempt in his eyes. I remember he even once gave me advice on a substitution technique that I couldn't do. It would have been better if this battle had never happened. If only I could live the day over again. Why are you standing there? Attack! Naruto heard from afar. Returning from her thoughts, Uzumaki realized where she was now and what she had to do. But now her determination had retreated. Maybe I shouldn't? Or I'll try to focus only on him and then I'll get the upper hand. You chickened out. You're afraid of me. You're afraid of my strength, given to me by loneliness. If you don't attack, I will. Come on. Naruto said defiantly. Defend yourself, Uzumaki Naruto. Sand shurikens. And those sand projectiles flew at the poor, battle-torn Naruto again. Naruto was about to run away when an idea came to her. Naruto, quickly realizing that Gaara was preparing to attack, flew like an arrow behind the trees. After waiting a little while, Naruto came out of the ambush with a satisfied smile on her lips. I can do it. I should be able to do it. After all, I trained for so long. Apparently, she knew what to do. But it was not to be. Biting her finger, Naruto suddenly noticed flying sandballs. Not getting her bearings in time, Naruto fell into some bush. The girl had just opened her eyes when a pile of sand fell on her. Goodbye, Naruto, were the last words Naruto heard. This is what happens when you fight for others, Gaara summed up. A sand coffin, the shinobi shouted with some regret. Perhaps Uzumaki Naruto was to the narcissistic demon's liking. Perhaps he didn't want this kind of end for her, but the creature inside him thirsted for blood and the young man couldn't do anything about it. There was an explosion. Gaara turned 90 degrees and slowly began to leave. He probably didn't want to look at the bloody remains of an innocent girl's body. He walked a considerable distance, but a familiar voice made him stop. "Who are you?" Uzumaki said after a minute of staring in confusion, pointing her finger at the mini-toad. "Who are you? And why did you drag me to I don't know where?" The toad answered the question with a question. "I am Uzumaki Naruto. The future Hokage of Konoha," the blonde said proudly. Hearing this small dialogue, Gaara turned around abruptly. Imagine his surprise to see the girl alive. "Kill her," the shinobi's head rang out. "Kill. I want blood, I want to kill, I want to see the horror and fear of death on people's faces." Gaara's only invincible and sworn enemy, the Biju Shikaku, pressed on his consciousness. "Shikaku, you were always inside me. Everything that happened to me is because of you. I don't want to hear anything. Kill her," insisted the one-tailed. "I'm tired of snotty genin opponents. She's the same as you. That's why I want her dead. You can't go the same way." Without even noticing it, Gaara attacked. Attacked shamefully, from behind. Naruto, barely noticing, or rather hearing the enemy's advance, reflexively grabbed the small creature and tried to hide from the sand pursuing them on their heels. But the speed of the sand exceeded the speed of the kunoichi, and as soon as the huge masses of sand reached their target, they immediately wrapped themselves tightly around the girl's lower limbs and threw her with all their might into the distance. "Well, that's it," Naruto thought. "I didn't live long. I'm flying very fast and from a very high altitude. I won't survive. Goodbye, Gaara. Goodbye." The kunoichi, who was full of energy until recently, said goodbye to the young man with a smile on her face. "Stop smiling like that," a familiar voice sounded like a bolt from the blue. Naruto jumped up in her savior's arms, causing him to noticeably change his expression. "I'm sorry, Sasuke, I didn't mean to hurt you. It's just that you showed up so unexpectedly and..." "Please distract him for a little bit longer. I can move now and will try to pull Sakura out." The brunette did not let Uzumaki finish. "Oh, okay," Naruto said uncertainly, trying to hide her embarrassment. This made the Uchiha smile involuntarily. "Aya!" A voice was heard nearby. Coming to the source of the scream, you can see a red-haired guy who is half transformed into a monster. Indeed, there is little left of his human form. To be more precise, his entire body except for his legs resembled a sand monster. This monster was holding his head with both paws. He was experiencing severe pain. "What, Gaara, are you having a hard time?" Naruto asked impudently, unable to restrain herself. The demon was furious. He was fighting with Gaara's consciousness for control over his body. Gaara was trying his best not to lose. After all, he lived for himself and did not want to die. But releasing the bija meant death. At that moment, Shikaku took over. Enraged by the girl's impudence, the demon created several small horizontally flattened sand spheres and, without hesitation, launched them at Naruto. She had already developed a habit of dodging his attacks at full speed and in a short time. Having done the same thing automatically this time, Naruto was about to counterattack, when she remembered that Sasuke and Sakura were in the direction where the balls had flown. "Sasuke, run!" Uzumaki shouted at the top of her lungs. "Don't get distracted!" shouted the enemy, who had gotten into the swing of things. "What are you doing? Give me some time, and I'll grind her into dust," Shikaku explained to someone. "No. Don't." "Gaara," Naruto whispered, stunned. "Naruto Uzumaki. Why don't you leave them?" What makes you help and take care of them? The red-haired man asked, wanting to know what motivated her. Love, Gaara, love, the kunoichi replied with a sincere smile. Love, the shinobi repeated. So Yashimaru wasn't lying. Flashback, Gaara. Evening. It's getting dark. A little boy with red hair sits alone on a swing, holding a teddy bear in his hands and indifferently watching the children playing. They were rolling a ball on the ground, passing it to each other with their feet. Me. Give it to me. One of the boys shouted. The one with the ball kicked it, without calculating the force of the blow. And as a result, the ball went to the roof of some building. What should we do? The girl asked. Does anyone know how to climb walls? Someone from the crowd asked. No. Suddenly, the children saw the ball, descending from the roof on the sand, by itself. Then the round object fell into Gaara's hands. It's him. Gaara. Run. Save yourself, the children shouted, running away from the boy as if from universal evil. Why? Why are you running away and not wanting to play with me? What did I do wrong? The child asked them. You won't leave. I don't want this. And then sand began to float across the ground. Grabbing each of the children, he brought them closer to his master. He caught me. I can't go. Let go, the kids shouted in different voices. Gaara, without controlling himself, released a stream of sand at one of the boys. Gaara, don't. Stop. The boy heard a familiar and dear voice. And Gaara stopped. Arriving home, the child asked his uncle. Why did you do this? Love, Yashimaru answered. Love? Your mother gave birth to you with love. I also treat you with love. What is love? Gaara asked. Love is when you sacrifice yourself for others without regretting it, when their interests are more important than yours. Love lives in the heart, Yashimaru finished. End of Gaara's flashback. Ah. Gaara said, clutching his head. Apparently, the painful memories were taking their toll on him. Meanwhile, Shikaku, driven by a thirst for freedom, attempted to undermine its host's control from within. Yashimaru, you said that love is all-powerful. Is its power really that great? Is Naruto, risking his life, protecting those two out of love? The Sand Shinobi tried to understand Uzumaki's point of view. She does not understand the seriousness of your intentions. She is still too naive and open. She still has not understood, unlike you, that you cannot trust others. You must live and fight only for yourself, the one-tailed man said, choosing his words carefully. You? Gaara asked, surprised. Yashimaru told you the absolute truth at the moment of his death. You have never, do you hear, Gaara, never been loved by anyone. Shikaku exclaimed, laughing. Do you know why? The Bija continued, narrowing his eyes. Because when you were still in your mother's womb, they imprisoned me inside you. Me, Shikaku. The demon who took many lives. When you were born, your mother did not die because of a difficult birth, no. They simply needed a victim. And your mother became her. You killed her with your own hands, Gaara. The one-tailed continued to speak, seeing the youth's reaction, which pleased him. Shikaku's gaze was caressed by the lost 13-year-old teenager, kneeling in front of a huge cage immersed in pitch darkness. He rummaged through his fiery red hair, absent-mindedly shaking his head, as if not believing the words of the monster imprisoned within him. Although he himself is a monster, oh, by the way. You, a human, do you not know why you were named that? Shikaku asked, as if mockingly, deciding to finish off the shinobi with his answer. Seeing that his bearer was unable to give an answer, Shikaku continued. You were not given the name Gaara out of love, no. On the contrary, out of hatred for the village and for yourself. Even the woman who gave birth to you did not love you. What can we say about others? The Bija finished his speech. Let me control your body, and I will kill everyone for you. No. No. I don't want to die. I haven't lived long enough. Gaara screamed in madness. No one asked for your consent. You've already lost control of yourself. That's enough for me, the one-tailed man said, smiling. Having finally gained the long-awaited freedom, Shikaku forgot about everything. Ha ha ha. Oh, yes. Freedom. Finally. Shikaku rejoiced. Who are you? Naruto asked. Bring Gaara back here. And what is this midge underfoot? The one-tailed man said discontentedly, narrowing his eyes. I am Uzumaki Naruto. The future Kage of the Leaf, the blonde shouted as loudly as she could. Well, Uzumaki Naruto, farewell. You are my first victim. Shikaku said laughing. Sand wave. Naruto's POV. Oh. Sand again. What should I do? I can't run away. I thought. Are you panicking already? Someone asked me in a hoarse voice. Ah, it's you, Fox. Since you've come, lend me some of your chakra, Naruto said in her usual manner when talking to the Biju. Again? Learn to use yours more economically, the nine-tailed began to instruct the kunoichi. Well, okay. But use it more economically, agreed Kyubi. To which the blonde responded with her signature smile. Thank God, I made it. If it weren't for Kurama and his mockery, I don't know what I would have done. Hey, Naruto. What kind of jokes are you? Why did you summon me? Asked the giant toad. What's the problem? Over there, pointing forward with her index finger, the kunoichi wordily told about the problem. Brevity is the soul of talent. One-tailed? No, I won't get involved with that, forgive me, Gamabunta had already disowned the fight. Uzumaki expressed indignation. Dad, this girl fought so bravely. Gamakichi stood up for the girl. Gamakichi? What are you doing here? The toad boss was very surprised. I went out for a walk and this monster attacked me. And Naruto-chan saved me, Gamabunta's son, the toad, said. Oh, yeah? Well, that's a different matter. Gamakichi's father changed his tune. Naruto, watch how real toads fight. Hold on tight. The toad boss said, taking his katana out of its sheath. Gamabunta, gaining speed, rushed towards his enemy. Swinging his katana in mid-jump, the toad noticed a sand projectile flying straight at him. Water bullet. Gamabunta shouted before a ball of water similar in size to Shikaku's sand ball flew out of his mouth. The one-tail launched several more of these balls. Gamabunta tried to block them all. After throwing out 3 water projectiles, Gamabunta waited. As in the first case, a cloud of fog formed, which covered the entire area around the opponents. Gamabunta! Naruto shouted. Soon, one projectile that the toad hadn't noticed hit the target. Gamabunta let out a painful groan and flew back several meters. The toad got up and told Naruto everything as it was. A couple more blows like that and I'll disappear from here, the toad said, stating the fact. What should I do? Naruto asked. I don't know, Gamabunta said curtly, dodging his opponent's attacks. Oh, Gaara. Could I really turn into this? I feel so sorry for you. We are alike in many ways, Naruto thought, transported to some parallel world where silence and darkness reigned. No explosions, claps, clanging metal, whistling shurikens, and everything else inherent in shinobi battles were heard. Uzumaki walked through the muddy water, looking somewhere into the distance, without blinking. In front of her, there was boundless darkness and emptiness. Emptiness, which with all its weight pressed on the shoulders of the young Jinchuriki, trying to break, crush her, subjugate her. But the girl did not give up. She walked forward, straightening her shoulders and holding her head up. Somehow unusually calmly she looked into the unknown, thinking about only one thing. You had the same eyes as me. Loneliness and contempt for others are firmly entrenched in them. You are alone. You were always alone. You want revenge. You want to see the blood of those who made you this way. You live for yourself. But why? Everything can be changed. And I, Uzumaki Naruto, will prove it to you. Without noticing it, the blonde approached the huge cage. What? Girl, have you come to ask me for help? The fox asked arrogantly. I have nothing else to do. Naruto answered sharply, seeing two red lights in the darkness. You came to ask to share chakra, right? Hyubi continued speaking, narrowing his eyes as if he hadn't heard his host. If you really want to share chakra so much. Come on. It's time to pay the rent. The blue-eyed girl agreed without thinking twice. And you gave me one idea. So you're right on time with your offer, the kunoichi added mentally. Naruto. The girl was brought back to reality by the synchronized cry of Gamabunta and Gamakichi. Huh? What? Uzumaki answered, confused. Finally. It hasn't even been a year since you came back to us, the big toad said with some irritation. I used up almost all my chakra while you were up there in the clouds, and that jerk even hit me once. The toad boss expressed her indignation, showing the wound on her hand. Please forgive me, the kunoichi apologized sincerely. Okay, have you at least come up with something? I think so. The soon-to-be Chunin exclaimed, grinning. Then shall we go? Asked Gamabunta. Let's go, Naruto agreed, hitting her fist into her palm. And the toad hurried to pick up speed. Sasuke's POV. My neck. I can't move. What have you done, you filthy snake? The clang of metal? Is Naruto still fighting that monster? Is she alive? Then I need to help her. Most likely, her strength is running out, I thought, lying on one of the branches of a tree damaged in the battle. Contemplating the picturesque nature under the tree, namely the earth damaged by explosions, stumps from recently whole trees, grass splashed with blood, I fell into oblivion. A rumble and a quiet cough brought me back to reality. Taking a sitting position and pushing off from my recent bed, I stubbornly ignoring the pain, jumped up and rushed towards the sound. As it turned out later, it was the sound of frozen sand falling. And Sakura was still unconscious in this trap of frozen sand. Sakura, I called to the non-ninja. Sakura. I said louder. But there was no answer. Here. After thinking for a bit, I decided to use Chidori. My chakra, although not completely, had been restored. It should be enough. Monkey, dragon, rat, bird. I whispered. Bull. Snake, dog, tiger. Monkey, came the familiar bird chirping. As I thought, Kakashi's technique had accomplished its task. All I had to do was pull Sakura out and keep an eye on her, which is what I did. Naruto, when did you manage to grow so strong? I asked myself, watching my teammates' final dash to victory. Thank you, Uzumaki. You will win. And I will watch over this. And rest a little. As soon as I return to the village, I will begin training. I can't let a girl overtake me. Sasuke-kun? I heard my name. Oh. You finally woke up, huh, Sakura? I turned my head questioningly towards Haruno. Did you save me? She asked with admiration in her eyes. No, I answered, looking away. Naruto did it. But she fought, the kunoichi couldn't believe it. If it weren't for her, neither you nor I would be here, I answered with a half-smile, watching Uzumaki's progress. Hey, stop grinning. We need to get closer. Where are you going? Sakura asked, looking at my back. To Naruto, I snapped. But you don't have enough chakra, she protested. So what? I asked. And you lie down and rest, I said, hearing a rustle behind me. Sakura, as always, wants to tag along with me. And that's the last thing I need. End of Sasuke's POV. Naruto, closing her eyes and making the necessary seals for transformation, kept repeating, with fangs and claws, with fangs and claws. Well done, Naruto. The girl heard. I got you. Climb faster, my time is running out. The toad warned. Okay, the kunoichi answered cheerfully. And remember. Wake the boy up. Gamabunta shouted after him. Soon after, Naruto heard the familiar poof. Well, monster, we're one-on-one. Naruto shouted, addressing the one-tailed beast. Yes, girl. One-on-one, the demon agreed, attacking Uzumaki. I won't give Gaara to you. I'll get him back. The blue-eyed girl dodged the sand blows, sincerely believing in what she had just said. We'll see about that, said Shikaku. I've waited 13 years for this moment, and now it's here. I'm free. You'll have to go back to confinement, the blonde insisted stubbornly. Never, the one-tailed one rejected these words. They had an effect on him equivalent to adding poison to his body. He wanted to defend his freedom, just as people want to defend their right to live. Guided by this, Shikaku swatted away the little man who was climbing towards his forehead with his paw. But Naruto, reacting quickly, caught the kunai on the demon's cheek. You won't dare take away my freedom. Shikaku shouted. I dare you. Naruto replied, grinning as she was so close to her goal. She was speeding up to her limit and looking at Gaara approaching her, even though she was the one approaching him. It was at that moment that she was knocked off her feet by a wave of sand. There. I'm caught. Now I'll be watching my sides. A ninja must always be collected. And I was already happy, not having reached the end of the path. It's not for nothing that they say, don't share the skin of an unkilled bear. Now I have to get out. So, who won? The one-tailed one mocked. Of course I am, one of the Narutos jumped out from under the sand. Come on, girls, give me a lift to Gaara, the real Uzumaki commanded. Yes. The clones answered. With great difficulty, the blue-eyed girl got closer to the boy. Already out of breath, she took steps with difficulty, but still did not stand still. It was already dark in her eyes, only a narrow strip remained through which this world could be seen. After all, this journey to Gaara was not easy for the young kunoichi. Very difficult. Both her chakra, which was almost at zero, and extreme fatigue took their toll. And a one-on-one fight with a demon. Even with the help of clones, this was not easy. And if you remember that everything is transmitted from clones to the original, including fatigue. And how many clones were there? A lot. And now, having reached the final point, Uzumaki feels the sand under her feet sucking her in. What, did you think you won, naive girl? Asked the demon. Here he is, my host. He is a step away from you. And you can't do anything, said Shikaku, laughing hysterically. You are immobilized. Your feet are stuck in the sand, I have secured your hands with the same sand. I admit, you entertained me, but nothing more. So I will kill you quickly. Do you want to say something to me before parting? Yes, Uzumaki answered briefly. I'm listening. I'll wake Gaara up. Naruto shouted, remembering Gamabunta's words. Hit him on the head, he said. The blonde did just that. Throwing her head back, Naruto suddenly leaned forward and touched Gaara's forehead with hers. The girl felt incredible pain. It seemed like her head would burst into pieces. But here it was, the fruit of her efforts. He opened his eyes. Gaara woke up. Uzumaki closed her eyes with a smile, feeling the sand crumble beneath her feet. I told you, Gaara, that I would achieve my goal. And now, I have won. I have brought you back. Now you will not die. How? How did she do it? After all, Shikaku had completely taken over my mind. She fought for me? But why? She could have died. Was it love that pushed her to do this? If so, then maybe she's right. If you sacrifice yourself for others, and others sacrifice for you, you know that you're not alone. And life is easier. She realized this before I did. Thank you for opening my eyes, Naruto Uzumaki. The two bodies fell to the ground with a crash. Both were injured, exhausted, and tired. The red-haired man turned his head towards his savior. The blood from his forehead was running down his fair skin onto the grass, coloring it red-scarlet. Imagine the boy's surprise when he saw Naruto crawling towards him. Perseverance. That's what makes her strong, he whispered. The next moment, a man familiar to Gaara landed next to the girl. Now I can be calm about her. Sasuke will protect her, Gaara thought, closing his eyes. Gaara, are you okay? He heard his sister's worried voice. Temari, the Jinchuriki whispered. Kankuro, get up. Temari and Kankuro helped their brother get up and carried him towards Konoha. Temari, Kankuro. Gaara stopped short. Thank you. The brother and sister looked very surprised. But they smiled, touched by the changes in their younger brother. It was a cool, rainy day outside. The summer sun, which usually mercilessly scorched the residents of Konoha, hid behind the clouds, and the wind raged across the village more than usual. Gaara, echoed throughout the small apartment. Leave him alone. Let him go, the teenage girl screamed in her sleep, thrashing around on her bed. Naruto, someone said in Uzumaki's ear, but she didn't react. No. Don't come near. Naruto kept saying, waving her hand in front of the person who had come. You're a monster. Go away, don't touch me. The blonde was beating her hands in the air, experiencing something terrible in her sleep. Oh, monster? Sakura exclaimed angrily, barely making her way through the mess in the room. I'll show you, monster. Don't touch me, you ugly thing. Naruto still wouldn't wake up. Ugly? I came to wake her up, and she calls me names. And she sleeps, Haruno said to herself. Wake up, Uzumaki. I'll count to 3, and there will be nothing left of you. The prisoner of the nightmare heard a familiar voice through her sleep. And don't touch me, the sleepyhead who had fallen out of bed waved her hands in front of her face. After about half an hour, an exhausted Sakura sits opposite Uzumaki Naruto, who managed to clean her house during her morning jog from Haruno, cursing herself for not having enough time to clean the house. If the house were in order, there would be a few fewer bruises on the blue-eyed girl's body. Sakura-chan, do you want some tea? Naruto asked, taking a tea bag out of the drawer under the kitchen table. No, I watch my figure, the kunoichi refused. She won't. She's watching her figure. Well, as you wish, Naruto muttered under his breath. I'll have more left. The girl immediately found a positive in this situation. Did you say something? No. Oh, Uzumaki waved her hand. Sakura, what happened? The blonde abruptly changed the subject. I see everything, Uzumaki responded to her teammate's questioning expression. Eat first, Haruno said, looking down. Is this serious? Naruto asked. Yes. I know you, if I tell you now, you'll run around all day. At least eat this, Haruno said, glancing at the plate covered with another plate. Speak, the blue-eyed girl said, finishing her ramen. Sasuke left the village. To Orochimaru, Sakura said in one breath, waiting for Naruto's reaction. When, she shouted. Last night. And I couldn't stop him. I'm so sorry. I'll definitely find him. Why would he need this old man? A month later. Naruto. If I hadn't cried then, but had acted, Sakura cries at Naruto's bedside in the hospital. It's not worth it. He wouldn't have listened anyway, Uzumaki waved it off. But now look at yourself. So what? The wounds are temporary. The main thing is to return Sasuke to the village. I promised I will fulfill it. Don't, Naruto. This will end badly for you. Everything bad that could happen has already happened to me, the blue-eyed girl reassured her friend. Oh, okay. I'll go. The Hokage called me. Naruto, it's time, Jiraiya appeared in the window of the ward. I've sorted everything out with Tsunade. I'm coming, the girl answered briefly. Run home for clothes and stuff. Meet me at the main gate. Fine. Sasuke, I will definitely bring you back. Whether you want it or not, Naruto whispered, seeing the old man at the gate. Shall we go? He asked. Of course. Let's go. Uzumaki exclaimed, throwing her head back to the sky. She's so much like you, Minato. My student. 3 years have passed. All these 3 years flew by in grueling training, but it was for my own good. I hope I became at least a little stronger. I hope this power is enough to bring you back, Sasuke. You have lost your way, gone down the wrong road. On the road of revenge. Hidden from my eyes, but visible to you. I will return you to the village. Even if it has to be done by force. Thank you, perverted hermit, for your support and patience. How is the village? How is Granny Tsunade, Sakura-chan? How is my home? Oh, no. My home. There is so much dust and dirt there. Accumulated. Over the years. How long will I be stuck there? Naruto thought as he approached his native Konoha. Naruto, why are you so thoughtful? Asked Jiraiya. Huh? No, nothing. I'm thinking about the people close to me, Uzumaki answered. The people close to me. I wonder how Gaara is? What's wrong with him? I still remember our farewell. He said that he would become the Kage of his village. Let's see if he keeps his promise. I don't intend to give in to him in this. He must have changed a lot. By the way, how do you like my book? The Sannin distracted Naruto. Isn't the plot captivating and engaging? And the characters? Jiraiya remembered the recently completed book. He gave it to Uzumaki to read, and now the shinobi will listen to his opinion about his masterpiece. Ah, you mean this? The kunoichi said in a somewhat indifferent tone, patting her hand on the pocket of her pants where the book was. I haven't read past page 8. Well, how was the beginning? The writer persisted. I don't understand how Kakashi-sensei reads this. About 3 years ago, the whole team tried to spy. And now this desire has completely disappeared, Naruto answered sincerely. Ah. But, the author stood there, confused. Huh. You just don't understand it. It's a subtle art. The gray-haired man found something to answer. Yes, of course. Here we are, the hermit changed the subject. Yeah. It's been so long since I've been here. Welcome us, Konoha. Naruto said, smiling. Naruto, Jiraiya-sama, you're back. Kotetsu exclaimed happily. Naruto, you've grown so much. Izumo said. Kotetsu, Izumo. Hello. Uzumaki greeted. Welcome back. Izumo was happy for the blonde. This is how our heroes spent their time until they met Sakura. Naruto Odash. You're back. You've been gone for so long. Haruno knocked the blue-eyed girl off her feet, embracing her in a hug that almost made her bones crack. Sakura-chan, I'll let go, Naruto croaked. Okay, Tsunade's student quickly climbed off her victim. Yes, the Hokage called you. Let's go, Naruto, you'll have some fun later, said the Sannin. Why are you in such a hurry, old pervert? The blonde asked, narrowing her eyes slyly. Do you want to see Granny sooner? I'll quickly tell you about the progress of the training and we'll take ideas for a new book. The hermit quickly found an answer. Well, yes, of course. Upon arrival at Tsunade's office, Naruto was eagerly awaiting the end of all the questioning. Of course. She hadn't seen the village for so long, it had changed, and the granny was keeping her here, not letting her relax. So, Naruto, I must see what heights you have been able to reach, Tsunade said, addressing the young girl. And how so? Naruto asked, interested for the first time since she came into this room. In sparring, Senju answered briefly. And who will be my opponent? Uzumaki perked up. Tsunade-sama, did you call? Asked Shikamaru, who unceremoniously opened the door and was holding some papers. So they will be my opponents? The blue-eyed girl was genuinely surprised, pointing her finger at those who had arrived. What are you talking about? What opponents? We just came to bring papers, the Chunin answered, puzzled as to the reason for such an incident. So it's not you. Who is this? Your girlfriend, right? Temari nodded her head towards the guy. No, I'm only here about the upcoming Chunin exam, the guest of Konoha answered as calmly as possible. Who is she, and how could she even think of such a thing, flashed through the kunoichi's mind. And Naruto? Shikamaru said, as if remembering something. You're unrecognizable. So it's that little brat? Sunakagear's messenger was still talking to herself in her mind. Who are you? Naruto asked, pointing her finger at Temari. So she doesn't remember me? Calm down, Temari. Calm down. I am Temari no Sabaku, the blonde introduced herself briefly and without unnecessary words for the first time. I don't remember you, Naruto said thoughtfully. Ah, you're Gaara's older sister. Uzumaki finally realized. Finally. Temari said. The one who was afraid of him, the blue-eyed girl continued as if she hadn't heard the girl. She shouldn't have said that, oh, she shouldn't have. Luckily, Tsunade was here, otherwise Temari would have been standing there with her weapon in her hands. Naruto, your rival is there, the fifth interrupted Naruto's shame by pointing to the window. Uzumaki approached with interest and a picture of a bored man who didn't know what to do with himself opened up before her. Yo! Hataki said, raising his hand up in greeting, tearing his gaze away from yet another perverted book. Kakashi-sensei, the kunoichi was surprised. So it's you? Yes, Naruto. Long time no see, the ninja smiled. It was faintly visible through the mask, but Uzumaki knew that he was truly glad she had come. By the way, I brought you a gift, Naruto's former teacher was intrigued. Yes? Which one? The student pulled out from the fifth dimension, the gate to which her pants opened, a new volume of the book her sensei loved. Well oh. The usually calm copy ninja jumped up from his seat, which scared Naruto a little. But this is the new volume of Ika Ika. Hataki said, taking the book in his hands like a sacred relic. It's not even in print yet. Thank you, Naruto. Yes, you are very lucky, Kakashi. Jiraiya thought, nodding his head. Naruto, Sakura, training ground number 3 at 7 o'clock. I still have a lot of things to do, Kakashi said and disappeared into a cloud of fog. Well, yes, of course. Naruto replied. Tsunade-sama, will I be paired with Naruto? Sakura asked. Yes, Naruto alone can't defeat Kakashi. And I wonder what my student has achieved. Will you be able to work together after 3 years? You guys are free to go. Yes, the teenage ninjas answered in unison. Oh, how everything has changed, Uzumaki said, looking around one of the streets. So many new things have appeared. Konoha is growing quickly. Will I find the Ichiraka Ramen building? Walk the way. Sakura suggested. Yeah, Naruto nodded. By the way, Naruto, are you still a genin after all? Shikamaru asked. Yes, why? You are the only one from our age group who remained a genin. Yes? The kunoichi fell into a daze. But don't worry, the next exam is coming soon and you'll be able to fix it, Nara said, seeing the change in her friend's mood. What rank are you? The girl asked. Like this. And you, Temari, Sakura? The same, they both answered with a smile. Niji and Kankuro are already jonin, Shika said. And Gaara? What about Gaara? Naruto asked impatiently. Gaara became a Kage, Temari answered with pride for her brother. Really? Uzumaki was upset. But I promise, I won't give in to him. Just wait, Gaara. And here is Ichiraka Ramen. Guys, I'm going, Naruto said. It's only been 3 years, Naruto said with a sigh. But for me, those 3 years were an eternity. The girl added, looking at the sky. 3 days have passed. Naruto's POV. MMM. How nice. I wish I could lie around for another hour. But sensei has to wake me and Sakura up for training so early. Although Kakashi sensei hasn't finished reading this book yet, has he? What difference does it make? He'll be late anyway. I can sleep for another hour. And then come. I thought. So what? Kakashi-san will be late anyway. Why hang around doing nothing? The main thing is not to come later than sensei. What's going on? My body has relaxed, but my brain still doesn't want to switch off. How much time has passed? Half an hour? An hour? I still can't fall asleep. And what is this strange feeling? It hasn't left me since I woke up. I've experienced this before, too, though it was very rare. And not as noticeable as now. This feeling. As if you're losing a part of yourself and grieving. What, Naruto, can't sleep? Someone said. I jumped out of bed in fear. What are you so scared about? I heard the same voice, looking around. Fox, is that you? I still recognized that voice. The Biju answered calmly. What do you want? I said, displeased, returning to bed. Does this feeling bother you too? Hubie asked. Where are you from? I was incredibly surprised, not finishing my sentence. The only answer was a chuckle. If this bothers you, I can explain, but you will hardly understand everything. I've grown up. I exclaimed, unable to accept that I was being treated like a little child. I'm more accepting of everything than I was 3 years ago. Apparently, studying with one of the Sanins didn't go to waste. Okay, I'll explain it to you. Just one request, don't interrupt me, Kurama said, carrying me to his cage. I'm listening, I said, nodding. Naruto POV end. You already know that I am a Biju, a tailed beast with incredible power and a huge reserve of chakra, and you are my Jinchuriki, a person in whom I am sealed. You can use my chakra and gain an advantage over other ninja. For example, your ability to regenerate has increased many times. Have you noticed children similar to me? The fox spoke in a very simplified form so that the kunoichi could understand everything. Seeing the surprise on the girl's face, the nine-tailed received confirmation of the correct course of her thoughts. Could it be that Gaara, the Jinchuriki, was lost in doubt, remembering the fight with her now friend? Yes, he is also a Jinchuriki. The one-tailed Shikaku is sealed inside him. Thank your parents for the fact that I am the one sealed inside you, because with Shikaku inside you it is impossible to get enough sleep, and you really like to sleep, as if mockingly, said Kyubi. Thank your parents? So it was them? Naruto exclaimed. About this next time. And, it seems, I asked you not to interrupt. The Biju looked reproachfully at the young kunoichi. So that's where Gaara gets the circles under his eyes. That's why he doesn't get enough sleep, the ninja was already talking to herself. Are you listening to me? Yes, go on, Uzumaki perked up. There are 9-tailed beasts. With tails ranging from 1 to 9. We were once one, until we were separated. Naruto was about to say something and opened her mouth, but remembered her promise not to interrupt the narrator and closed her mouth. We are spiritually connected, since we came from one-tailed beast with 10 tails, therefore, our hosts are also connected. When threatened with being removed from the vessel, when shinobi fight for their lives, the tailed beasts worry about the future of themselves and their Jinchuriki. Why did this feeling suddenly become more acute? The blonde couldn't help but ask. Apparently, someone dear to you is going through this right now, answered the fox. Oh no. Gaara. Naruto was scared for the guy. Is he really going to die? Perhaps. But most likely, if things are that bad, Shikaku won't sit idly by. That's all for today, you can go, the Biju waved his hand. But I want to ask, Naruto said uncertainly. Today, I have already gone beyond the bounds of my relationship with you. So please do not bother me with questions, Kyuubi finished, lying down and closing his eyes. It seems you are late for training. Oh. Training. Naruto started to dress like a bullet and, running out of the house, rushed to the training ground, immersed in her thoughts, which were occupied by one person. Probably the most important person in her life. If only everything was okay with him. Gaara, please, hold on. Uzumaki thought as she approached her destination. She was pulled out of her thoughts by a whirlwind and a column of dust that rushed past Naruto. Clearing her throat and blinking, the kunoichi barely saw two silhouettes moving away from her at the speed of light. Naruto wondered who it was until she heard a familiar voice shouting. Naruto, we have 2 more laps and I'll be there. Here you go again. Naruto whispered. How can you not get tired of it? They always compete and compete. Kakashi-sensei, please don't screw up. Naruto thought, speeding up her run. How nice it is after a long, tiring training session that has squeezed all the strength out of you, to lie on the roof of your own house and enjoy the coolness of the night. The cold breeze, the stars twinkling in the distance. The weather is the same as that day. Oh, no, I remembered it again, our meeting changed you and me. You were sitting on the roof, lost in your thoughts. I want to see you again so much. To see your turquoise eyes, the kanji for love on the left side of your forehead, your thoughtful look, your dark red hair fluttering in the wind. I want to talk to you, find out what you have become, what you have achieved, and how much you have grown in strength. The girl dreamed, as she heard a familiar poof. Naruto, Tsunade is calling us, Kakashi said. For what? I don't know. Let's go. Having jumped up to the granny, Naruto saw Sakura in the room, besides Kage. Everyone is here. Excellent, Tsunade began. I wanted to send you on a simple mission tomorrow, to test Naruto and Sakura's strength, but plans have changed. I recently received a message from Tsunagakure. It says that their Kazekage was attacked and kidnapped. Who did it is unknown. They are asking for our help. Since the other squads are on missions, only you remain. Set out tomorrow at 6 in the morning. You may go free. Yes, everyone answered in unison. Naruto walked home in a daze. Her body moved on its own and existed separately from her brain. Her mind was asking only one question, who did this? Not remembering how she ended up in bed, before passing out, Naruto whispered into the void, what's wrong with you, Gaara? Naruto and the whole team had to overcome 3 days of uncertainty and ignorance. Anything could happen during these 3 days while they were on the road, and Naruto couldn't leave everything as it was or waste time, making the situation worse. She had to cover this distance as quickly as possible. Waiting was always hard for people. In a certain period of time, you could wear yourself out and bring yourself to hysterics. And hysterics are not good. Sometimes you laugh and cry at the same time. And why? It's all because a small, nasty thought has settled in your brain, and it keeps growing and growing, absorbing your consciousness and causing, as if it knew a special spell, not very happy thoughts, remembering which you can no longer control yourself. Naruto was also at her limit, with terrible thoughts about Gaara persistently knocking on her head. Fortunately, Lise was sitting peacefully in his cell and did not bother the girl with conversations, after which there is always an unpleasant aftertaste in the soul. Going further and further into her world of memories, the Jinchuriki did not notice how she ran ahead of Sakura and Kakashi, involuntarily speeding up her run. On the kunoichi's face, there was not that usual bright and warm smile that warmed everyone no matter what. Her eyebrows were drawn together. Naruto, wait. Sakura shouted. Okay, if you didn't get the hint, let's go straight ahead. And how, I wonder, can you not notice that your comrades are lagging behind? If you can walk to Suna for 3 days without stopping, thanks to the abilities that are at your disposal, due to the fact that a monster is sealed in your body, Sensei and I are ordinary ninja. Our energy reserves will quickly run out, so our speed is slower than yours. And mine is generally almost zero. Be lenient and understand me correctly. Otherwise, you'll stubbornly dig in your heels like a sheep. And after an argument, you'll continue walking alone. And sensei doesn't need problems. I hope we won't go after her, right, sensei? What? Uzumaki said, having finally listened to her former teammate. So? What do you want? Just don't tell me you're tired. We've only come a short distance. We need to get there as soon as possible. Gaara needs help, I can't wait. Whoa. You're way behind. Wait for us, we can't keep up with you. Haruno spoke intermittently, leaning against a tree trunk. It was obvious that the girl was tired. Naruto. You. Can't you see that sensei and I are falling behind? What a stubborn girl. Naruto. Calm down, Kakashi said, analyzing the situation. Here. Kakashi-sensei is also on my side. Which means he's also tired, and his strength is running out. At least listen to him. You see, Sakura can't keep up with your pace. And it wouldn't hurt you to save your strength. What? Am I the only one tired? The only one tired? Well, yeah. This is sensei. I think his physical capabilities are limitless. If only I can slow you down, then I'll go. Even if my soul leaves me, I won't lag behind you. I'm not weaker. But Kakashi-sensei. Naruto exclaimed, clenching her fists even tighter. We can't wait. Sakura. What the F? If we're alone, I'll kill you. You should have trained your endurance until you lost your pulse. Did you really think that I'd come back without becoming stronger? And what have you been doing? Kakashi-sensei. Don't tell me, that's enough for today? But you're not even tired. You're speaking clearly, breathing evenly, standing without making much effort, looking at the world as before. Not a single ounce of fatigue is visible. As always, Hatake spread his hands. Naruto, I know that you are already at your limit. As am I. So we all need rest, you really exhausted us. It's hard to maintain the image of not being tired at all. But this is necessary to motivate Sakura. With such data, she will drag us down, which is very bad. I agree, we need to hurry. But what's the point if we lose all our strength on the way? At that moment the shinobi, standing with his arms crossed over his chest, glanced at Sakura with his right eye. The latter got the hint. And besides, it's already dark. We need to get ready for the night, it's time to send them out. Let them take a walk. The forest will relieve all the anxiety and calm them both down. At the same time, they will bring firewood to the fire. I already have less work. Uzumaki whispered under her breath. Okay, the blonde-haired Padawan student reluctantly agreed. Naruto, began the sensei, putting his hand on her shoulder. Relax, said Hatake, looking into her blue eyes. In his memory, this was the first time when only ashes remained from the radiant smile of this optimist, and the fire of happiness and kindness that constantly burned in her eyes suddenly went out. Do you really doubt Gaara? His strength? He is very strong, believe me. And he is not one of those who will just give up his life without caring about the future of his village or at least about his family and friends, said Kakashi, remembering how Gaara had changed. From a soulless, cold, lonely monster mired in the abyss of blood and hatred, he turned into a loving and beloved, good-natured person who has been through a lot and appreciates those who walk side by side with him through life. And these changes in the heart of the shinobi occurred largely thanks to Uzumaki Naruto. A ray of warmth, kindness, empathy, and understanding from her heart was able to melt Gaara's heart, which was encased in ice. And no, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto said, looking down. I trust him completely, but I'm afraid for him, the girl whispered. A person who holds the post of Kage of the village will never disgrace his name. Otherwise, his village will be disgraced too. And Gaara will definitely not allow this. He will not dare, the shinobi reassured the blonde, running his hand over the student's head. And now be kind enough to help Sakura. She can't handle it alone. Closing his eye and smiling, he approached the logical conclusion of his plan to return Naruto from the depths of her heart to reality, where the world without her happy smile and ringing laughter is no longer the same. Okay, Kakashi-sensei. We'll be quick. Smiling at this understanding man, Naruto quickly disappeared into the nearby trees. After all, talking to sensei calms me down. Now that's a different matter, Naruto. Sadness and melancholy don't suit you at all. You need to live and enjoy life to the fullest. After all, you're so much like him. Minato-sensei, Kushina-san, you have a beautiful daughter. Looking at the sky, the shinobi thought. After standing like that for a minute, he sat down under one of the trees and, taking off his mask, closed his eyes. Obito, Hatake whispered. I'm sorry. You were supposed to survive. Part of you lives in this young kunoichi. Our sensei's daughter. Sakura-chan, where are you? Uzumaki screamed throughout the nearby forest, looking for her so-to-speak friend. Naruto, do you want to help? Sakura said in a voice that wasn't her own, touching the blonde's shoulder. Eh! Naruto screamed. So loudly that she would undoubtedly have taken all the heights of any song. Who are you? The blue-eyed girl asked, stuttering, slowly and with indescribable fear turning her head towards the source of the sound. A sea of emotions changed on the face of the timid and vulnerable in such things, kunoichi. Turning around, the coward in such things instantly jumped back. After all, a huge tree touched Naruto's shoulder. Its branches fluttered in the wind, making a rustling of leaves that was frightening at such a moment, and the trunk swayed from side to side. The nasty creak of the old tree pierced Uzumaki to the marrow of his bones. One of the branches, the one that touched the kunoichi's shoulder, fell off and crashed to the ground. Naruto! Help! Someone was shouting from the tree. Naruto! The girl's name was repeated in tears. As Sakura-chan? The blue-eyed girl whispered questioningly. Get me out of here. Where are you? Uzumaki asked, stuttering. This tree. Me into itself. Helii. Haruno begged, and the tree branches stretched towards the poor blonde, whose pants had noticeably become heavier. Eh! Kakashi-sensei. Naruto screamed, backing away. You're such a coward, Naruto. The girl heard a familiar voice behind her, crashing into someone. Ah! Sensei! Naruto screamed, turning around. This is not funny. Oh, come on. It's fun. Sakura laughed. Sakura? Naruto's eyes widened. How? It's just a joke, Kakashi and Sakura said together. Fua, the martyr breathed in relief. But how? Apparently, you, having collected brushwood, looked for me for a long time, well, and I decided not to waste time in vain. I found this tree. I tied a fallen branch there. When you came, I sat down, putting my hand on your shoulder. Then the wind helped me. It blew right in your direction. And you also didn't hear my steps when I went to the tree, Haruno smiled happily. And I came running when I heard your scream. I thought you were attacking me, Kakashi admitted, scratching the back of his head. Let's go already, jokers, Naruto said, collecting the dropped brushwood. Naruto, what are you standing there for? Get the food, Sakura said. I didn't take it, Naruto said, looking down. That's like you, the sensei remarked, eating his dinner. Oh, Naruto. It was worth it to take it. Sakura said, handing the blonde ramen. Thank you, Sakura-chan. Naruto hugged his savior. You're welcome, the green-eyed girl smiled. After having dinner by the fire, the trio went to bed. Kakashi, having lain down for a while, informed the students that he would be leaving for a while. Sakura, are you sleeping? Naruto whispered, unable to fall asleep no matter how hard she tried. Sleep wouldn't come. So you're sleeping, Uzumaki answered herself, listening to the silence. Maybe I should wait for sensei? Naruto, stretching out her legs and putting her hands behind her head, looked at the starry sky. Involuntarily, she recalled moments of her life. How she found her first friend, Shikamaru, how she received Iruka's confession, then team number 7. Silent Sasuke and Sakura, who was in love with him. The first training, at the end of which she was tied to a pole, the surprisingly calm and always late Kakashi-sensei, the perverted hermit. Trying to peep at her at every opportunity. She remembered everything. All her 15 years of life. The girl especially carefully reproduced in her memory meetings with Gaara, their laconic conversations, one could say, silence in each other's presence. Achoo! Was heard in the middle of the forest. Someone is remembering, said the ash-haired man. And I only just closed my eyes, and I was already almost asleep. I have to go back, Kakashi said to himself, yawning. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto whispered. You're not asleep yet, the shinobi was surprised, lying down in his sleeping bag. I can't sleep. I see, Hatake whispered. Can he really handle it? Naruto asked, turning a thoughtful gaze to sensei. Just trust him, Kakashi reassured again. Now go to sleep, otherwise you'll be behind tomorrow. Good night, sensei, Uzumaki said, curling up into a ball, before finally falling asleep. A gentle breeze, blowing over her sweet features, managed to wake up Naruto, who was sleeping soundly. After struggling a bit with her body's reluctance to wake up, Naruto finally opened her eyes. After lying in the star pose for a couple of minutes, and without blinking, looking at the sky in a state of awake, but not completely, Uzumaki, yawning deeply, assumed a sitting position. To her surprise, she woke up first. Sakura was sleeping peacefully like a baby, and probably wasn't going to wake up. Kakashi also showed no signs of waking life. The eye, by which Naruto always read sensei's emotions, was closed, and his face, as always, was wearing the usual mask. He doesn't take it off even in his sleep. Sensei, are you two having a fight? I remember the three of us trying to find out what his face was like. Ah, nostalgia. I can't help but smile, remembering all this. But something had changed in him. But what? While Naruto was carefully contemplating Kakashi, she had already come closer. It was the first time she had seen that scar on her sensei's left eye in all its glory. Hatake was in no hurry to answer the blonde's curiosity, although these questions about the circumstances under which he could have gotten a scar on such a part of his body, and how he could see a copy ninja with that eye, were slightly annoying, but he did not show the slightest sign of irritation or sadness when that scar was mentioned. However, Naruto did not give up. Even after returning to the village, she decided to get to the bottom of the truth, no matter what it took. And why doesn't sensei want to talk about it? Such a big scar. He must have gotten it a long time ago. And if so, then why doesn't he want to tell how it happened? I would like to hear everything in detail. I can't even imagine how that man couldn't dodge the blow. It's beyond my comprehension. And the scar, it turns out, starts far from the eye. Then, crossing the entire eye socket, ends not far from the beginning of the mask. Maybe it has something to do with the Sharingan that he has in that particular eye? Oh, by the way. We still haven't figured out what's under the mask. We need to fix that. Uzumaki Naruto will bring the investigation from 3 years ago to an end. With such thoughts, her previously thoughtful face was visited by an anticipatory, devilish smile, and her eyes narrowed a little. Winking at the sleeping sensei, Naruto quietly stepped barefoot on the damp forest grass. The morning dew, falling at the slightest movement of an awakening blade of grass, pleasantly washed the girl's feet, and the grass itself gently tickled the skin of the criminal's feet. The wind, which had strengthened by this time, shamelessly lifted the loose hair of the young kunoichi into the air and swirled it in a dance known only to him, caressing the blonde's sweet face along the way. The melody of the wind warmed the soul and calmed a little the madly pounding heart, ready to break through the ribcage and go into free flight, like a bird that had been locked up for a long time. From excitement, Uzumaki forgot how to breathe. Swallowing nervously, she approached the ash-haired man step by step. The girl no longer heard anything except the sound of her own steps. Her gaze was directed into the eyes of the man who was in the arms of sleep. What if he wakes up now? What will he think? Maybe I should leave before it's too late? Naruto asked herself. Leaning over him, the girl peered warily into the open part of his face. Carefully taking the edge of the mask, the blue-eyed girl carefully and slowly pulled the blue fabric down. As expected, the girl did not see anything new. Kakashi was also wearing a second mask. But you haven't changed, sensei. What I can't understand is why you hide your face behind several masks. Aren't you hot? Why don't you want the world to see your face? Now the restless student was looking at the same, but faded mask. What do you have hidden there? Okay. Stop. Just don't tell me there's another mask under this one, Kakashi-sensei. You never wear more than 2 masks, right? Or do you have a whole collection of them? When you wake up, do you think about which one to put on? Or do you run out of time because you're late again? The kunoichi could barely hold back a giggle while thinking about it. Well, it's time to finish. It won't take long to get caught like this. In anticipation, Naruto touches the second mask, just as Uzumaki was pulling the interfering piece of blue fabric off the teacher's face as quietly as possible. A satisfied smile was already lighting up her face when someone's hand intercepted hers. The curious person's expression changed abruptly and she instantly turned her gaze from the mask to the teacher's eyes. To her great surprise, they were closed. Holy, he's sleeping. But even in his sleep, his reactions are like a robot's. He does everything with precision, down to the smallest detail. And stop scaring me like that, sensei. I almost had a heart attack. Oof. When her heart was relieved, the genin resumed her actions, but with her other hand. Slightly moving her mask, Naruto watched the teacher's reaction. Having made sure of this, Naruto makes another attempt to finally remove this dot of a mask. Absorbed in her thoughts, she does not notice how she lies on the ground, and above her, with his hands secured on either side of her head, the teacher hangs down, looking at her from top to bottom as if she were trash. It's time to stop watching Bleach, with a displeased look. Bugged. Naruto thought, looking away somewhere into the sky. Uzumaki Naruto, what did you want to do? Kakashi said, looking at his student with his right eye. After a short silence, the shinobi continued. I'm waiting for an answer. I wanted to take off your mask, Hatake Kakashi, Naruto replied in his manner, smiling. But as always, you were at the wrong time, Uzumaki answered, looking into her teacher's eyes, gathering courage from somewhere. Perhaps, Hatake said quietly, changing the eye that was watching what was happening. Naruto, you don't change, Kakashi admitted the fact with a sigh, releasing the blonde from his embrace. Of course, Uzumaki said, rubbing her wrists. I would continue to educate you, but unfortunately we have spectators, the shinobi said with disappointment, calmly adjusting his mask. Good morning, Sakura. You weren't asleep, were you? Gee, good morning, Kakashi-sensei, Sakura answered absent-mindedly. A light blush covered her cheeks. Understanding the reason for Haruno's behavior, Naruto also began to slowly but surely blush, mentally replaying what was happening. How inconveniently she ended up in this situation. Especially since Sakura saw everything. What could she have thought? I hope she woke up when I was still removing his mask. Otherwise, she will misunderstand everything. I need to explain. So, girls, shall we have breakfast and then move on? Kakashi suggested. Yeah, Sakura responded, yawning. I've already eaten, Naruto refused. Well, as you wish, the ash-haired man shrugged indifferently. After some time. Another night's stay. Now, it's time. That's enough for today. we'll go to bed soon. We should arrive in Suna tomorrow in full fighting condition. Understood? Kakashi said. Yes, Captain. Yes, Kakashi-sensei. The girls said together. Now let's go get some brushwood. Let's go, Naruto. I need to clarify something. Yeah, I'm coming. Naruto. What's up with you and Sensei? Sakura asked the question that had been bothering her since the beginning of the day. It's nothing, Sakura. I just wanted to take off his mask, so he. Ah, I see. I was even scared at first, Naruto told the truth. Well, that's not surprising, Haruno laughed. Huh, well yeah, Uzumaki smiled. After talking about all sorts of nonsense, Naruto and Sakura returned to Sensei with armfuls of brushwood. They needed something to keep warm all night. Sakura kindly provided Naruto with food again, for which she was immensely grateful. Kakashi and Naruto kept exchanging glances, as if they were talking to each other without words. Both realized that they would soon have to talk. Kakashi was prompted by one question, and Naruto by another. Sakura, of course, noticed this and decided to quickly go to bed and at the same time listen to what would happen. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto, good night, Sakura said, smiling. Putting the dishes in her backpack, she went to her sleeping place with a satisfied smile. I think you're lying, Naruto. Now I'll find out exactly what's going on with you and Sensei. He wouldn't do something like that for no reason. He's always calm as a tank. So, Naruto, is this mask bothering you? Kakashi asked with a grin, leaning back against the tree and putting his hands in his pockets. I'm not interested in the mask at all, but in what you're hiding under it, Uzumaki answered with a smile, looking at her interlocutor with interest. Oh, so that's it, the ash-haired man said as if he had discovered something new. Maybe you should take it off finally, the kunoichi asked, knowing the answer perfectly well. You know, Naruto, I'll take it off, the shinobi, having said this, looked closely at Naruto's face. Is it true? Uzumaki asked in surprise, not believing her ears. Yes, Kakashi said briefly, still watching his student's reaction. He slowly pulled the unchanging attribute of clothing off his face. And the other one? You asked me to take off the mask, Hatake clarified. Kakashi-sensei, but this isn't fair. It's not fair, it's not fair. Naruto acted like a little child who didn't get what he wanted. In the world of shinobi, you can't trust everyone. You can only trust yourself, the ninja said seriously, pronouncing the last word syllable by syllable. Sensei, you're at it again. Naruto crossed her arms over her chest, tilting her head to the side. I think I asked you not to call me that. We are no longer teacher and student. Okay, Sensei, Naruto said, emphasizing the last word, smiling from ear to ear. Oh, you're the same as always, Hatake said with a resigned sigh, taking off his gloves. And you take off your mask, the girl continued, straightening her spine. In response to this, the latter crunched. Don't you want anything else? Kakashi asked, looking up at his student. Why wouldn't I want to? Tell me how you got the scar on your eye, Naruto blurted out. Okay, but you don't ask me about my life anymore. And you'll stop calling me sensei, Hatake stated, getting up from his usual place. Oh, and one more thing. No one should know about this, he added. Otherwise I'll punish you, Naruto could hear Sensei's quiet laughter. Oh okay, the surprised Uzumaki squeezed out of herself, but soon the smile returned to its rightful place. Kakashi, slowly, one might say lazily, pulled the mask down to his chin and, smiling, contentedly, watched the blonde with interest. Kakashi-sense, Naruto stopped short. Kakashi-san, why are you hiding your face? Uzumaki asked in bewilderment, looking at the beautiful, unspoiled face of the shinobi. Many would envy such a face. In Naruto Uzumaki's memory, the most ordinary face shape with a rounded chin, not very prominent lips, which were smiling at the moment, firmly settled. At the moment of his unexpected appearance after being late for several hours, several well-known phrases flew off them, like, "Sorry, I got lost on the road of life." A slightly pointed nose suited the shinobi perfectly. Familiar eyes, usually saying, "I don't care about anything, I was just passing by," but they look warmly, sometimes with concern, at the people dear to Kakashi. One eye contains what Hatake values most, the Sharingan, which was given to him by his first friend, a teammate. A rather long scar runs through the same eye, received by Kakashi on that mission. It is like a reminder of how late he changed. The second eye is dark. The left eye was once the same, but after the transplant of the activated Sharingan, Kakashi is forced to cover this scarlet eye with the protector of his native village, since the activated Sharingan spends chakra, and shinobi are not able to deactivate it. "Heh, are you happy?" Kakashi said, returning the mask to its usual place. Now about the scar, Naruto persisted. "I got it on a mission," Hatake waved off briefly. "Brevity is the soul of wit, yes." "Hey. That's it, Naruto. Go to sleep." The owner of the Sharingan avoided details. "Kakashi-sensei, can I ask you a question?" Naruto said, catching up with the teacher who had already left. "Speak." "How did you catch me then?" "You were sleeping. Shinobi are always light sleepers. I can wake up even from the rustling of leaves, not to mention the sound of footsteps," Kakashi explained. "I see," Uzumaki said thoughtfully. "Good night, Kakashi-san," Naruto said, yawning and climbing into her bed. "Calm down," the ash-haired man answered, removing the bandage from his eye and, throwing it not far from himself, closing his eyes. Day 3. "Sensei, did you hear?" Sakura said. "Yes, be on your guard," Kakashi answered seriously. "Huh? What's going on?" "I didn't hear anything," Naruto said in her usual manner. "Naruto, you're the same as always," Haruna whispered irritably. "We're not alone here," Hatake felt it necessary to explain the situation. "We might be attacked?" Naruto immediately jumped in. "Yes," the shinobi answered briefly. Hearing a rustling sound nearby, everyone took up their kunai and prepared to repel a possible attack. "Kakashi-san, is that you?" the girl asked, stepping into the light of day and into the trio's field of vision. "Temari?" The jonin was surprised. "I know about my brother's kidnapping and I'm heading to Suna," the kunoichi said, coming closer. "Do you want to join?" "Yes, I'm going with you. There may be sandstorms in Suna now. You'll die if you go without a guide." "The more the better," Naruto exclaimed. "Let's go already," Temari muttered. "Temari, do you think he's okay?" Naruto asked worriedly, purposely lagging behind Sakura and Sensei. "I don't know, Naruto, I don't know," Gaara's sister answered sincerely. "I hope so." Meanwhile, Gaara's POV. The wind. Strong. It's a pleasant feeling. When gusts of wind ruffle your hair, blow on your face, giving you a saving chill that penetrates you to the marrow of your bones. After a day of work, just what you need. To lie down on some roof, relax, give your head a rest. And now I can feel the coolness. It's already night. I don't feel anything solid under my feet, I'm as if in the air, as if weightless. This feeling calms and pacifies at the same time. You want to smile. You can't help but think that life is beautiful. But not in my case. I would like to contemplate the night sky above my head now, but I can't. It's a pity. Now I, Gaara of the desert, the Jinchuriki that everyone was afraid of and ran away as soon as they saw him, lie defeated in the clutches of my opponents. I don't know why they need me, and I don't want to know. But I know one thing for sure, I need to get out. This will not end well. But, my chakra is at 0. And there are 2 of them. They are missing Nin. I need time, I'm falling asleep again. A bright sunny day, the sun beats down, sparing nothing. Fortunately, the wind makes the weather more bearable. Under a powerful old oak tree, a boy of about 6 sits alone on a swing, clutching a teddy bear in his hands and hugging it to himself. Nearby, children of the same age are playing football, laughing joyfully. Happiness has visited them. Only one red-haired boy was very sad and offended. Why does no one play with me? No one at all. Why does everyone shout, "Monster," and run away? Doesn't they come to me? I want to find a friend. A lonely tear rolled down the face of an innocent child. Hello, shouted the fair-haired girl, appearing before Gaara's eyes. He even leaned back a little in surprise. You're a boy. And boys don't cry. Cry sa, the girl said syllable by syllable. I'm not crying. The boy shouted, frowning. You just think so. The child defended himself, clutching the toy in his hands. That's not true. Naruto mockingly laughed. And you. See, you're not crying anymore. The girl said happily. Now smile. Gaara's mouth opened slightly in surprise. Come on, smile. The sunshine said, lifting the corners of the boy's lips. He had no choice but to smile. There, well done. Having said this, the girl sat down next to him. Do you want me to be your friend? She offered, seeing the sadness on Gaara's face. Really? You're not joking? The red-haired man asked again, not believing what he heard. Of course not. Naruto pretended to be offended and turned away from Gaara. A few minutes later, the children were playing happily and laughing joyfully, and the happy smiles were in no hurry to leave their faces. Walking along one of the streets of the village of sand, Gaara began to be overcome by an incomprehensible feeling. He looked at the joyful, loudly laughing Naruto and did not understand what was happening. It seemed to him that he felt so light that he forgot about everything that had happened to him during his short life, but something prevented him from enjoying it. Some strange premonition that something terrible was about to happen did not give him peace. Naruto, Gaara said and froze. Naruto. He repeated more loudly. Stop. Where are you going? The boy screamed, watching his newly found friend fall into some abyss, helplessly stretching out her hand to meet him. Naruto. The boy kept screaming, stretching out his hand in horror somewhere into the void. His light disappeared into the darkness. Once again, the shadow swallowed everything that was dear to him. The boy cried, falling to his knees. Naruto, Gaara whispered soundlessly. Just a dream. Oh, Naruto, how are you? What is she doing now, who illuminated my life and brought many different colors into it, ridding me of the boring black and red colors? She must be enjoying life, having returned to the village after long training. I haven't seen her for 3 years. And I'm unlikely to see her again. She must have changed, Gaara thought sleepily. The sky reminds me of her eyes. I know for sure, her eyes are still as blue. I hope they won't rain tears when she finds out about me. Thank you for everything, Naruto. If it weren't for you, I would still be the same monster. The shinobi continued to reason, squinting his eyes and observing the beauty of nature in the breeze. How weak and helpless I am. And also the Kage. Achu. Was heard somewhere in the forest. Be healthy. Sakura patted Naruto on the shoulder so hard that the blonde's face twisted. Don't be a ramen noodle. Kakashi joined in, smiling sweetly. I wonder who remembers me? Uzumaki muttered under her breath with displeasure. Naruto. I hope we meet again. Suna, hospital, Kankuro ward. Naruto burst into the room without knocking, looking for the wounded brunette. The news about the fight between the novice puppeteer and the S-rank criminal made Uzumaki angry, so after asking where he was, the girl rushed to him like an arrow, because he could know where his brother was taken. Slamming the door behind her in front of her friends who caught up with her, the kunoichi ran up to the brunette and placed her palm on his. What's wrong with him? Naruto asked in surprise. She always, or rather in Konoha during the exam, saw him safe and sound. And now a young guy with bandaged wounds lies in front of her, and a grimace of pain crosses his face. But right now, Naruto saw this man for real, without those purple stripes on his face, without that black suit with a cool hat. He's poisoned. We don't know what kind of poison it is. And he's getting worse and worse. There's nothing we can do, the man in the white coat said with bitterness in his voice. Silence fell in the hospital room. No one wanted to say anything. Or dared not. Naruto stared at one point and thought about something. The prolonged pause was interrupted by a knock on the door. May I? Kakashi's head appeared in the doorway. Are you from Konoha? Come in, the doctor gave the go-ahead. And? Is this young Kunoichi with you too? What are you saying? Of course not. I don't know her, and I'm seeing her for the first time. The Jonin wanted to say. Yes, she's my student. I apologize for her barging in like that, Kakashi said, bowing. We've only just established a dialogue, and Naruto. As always, it's out of place. I hope this won't affect the cooperation between the countries. Don't apologize, it's normal for a teenager. Let's get acquainted first? Asked the same doctor. I am Hatake Kakashi. This is Haruno Sakura, Kakashi said, bowing his head to the girl. And this is Naruto, the lazy man said, turning his head towards the blonde. Nice to meet you, I'm Nozumi Shinohara. Hello, I'm a medic from Konoha, the girl said, walking up to the bed and leaning over it, peering into the face of the future patient. Why you? The man asked again, shocked. Yes. I am the 5th student, answered Sakura. What don't you like about me? Still young? And you, old fart, haven't been able to do anything for 3 days. Pfft. And you're still throwing a tantrum at me. Haruno was indignant inside. Then get started. We'll help you as much as we can. Sakura, try your best. This guy is the only one who knows where and who went with Gaara, said Sensei. Do you doubt me? Sakura asked, squinting her eyes and tilting her head to the side. No, what are you saying? Hatake objected, waving his palms in front of himself. After all, disagreeing with Sakura was like killing yourself with your own hands. 2 days later. The same hospital room, the same Kankuro, lying on the bed with his eyes closed. But something has changed. His facial expression does not change under the onslaught of pain. Sakura was able to find an antidote by mixing several poisonous herbs. It is just dawn, and the first guest enters the young man's room. Without giving himself away, without knocking over or dropping anything, the visitor quietly approaches Kankuro and, without ceremony, wakes the victim, shaking him by the shoulder. Opening his eyes, the guy looked around the room he is in with surprise. White walls and ceiling, chairs, a bedside table and curtains on the window. And the beautiful, innocent, kind face of a girl who looks like an angel. Am I in heaven? Kankuro asked about his guess. What? Naruto answered, looking at the blonde-haired man as if he had fallen from an oak tree. Firstly, this is a hospital, and secondly, you are still alive, the kunoichi explained. How are you alive? Kankuro asked, sitting up. You were given an antidote. But I came on business. You were the last one to see Gaara, weren't you? The girl began ingratiatingly. What's wrong with him? The guy jumped up. That's exactly what we don't know. You are the only thread to saving your brother. Yes, I was the last one to see Gaara, the shinobi answered, clutching the sheet in his hands. I couldn't bring him back. Kankuro said regretfully. Now is not the time to be crying. Naruto shouted. Who took Gaara and where? Uzumaki blurted out without expecting it. Akatsuki. One of them is Sasori Akasuna from Sand. The other had the stone headband. I can show you the place where I saw him last time, the puppeteer said while getting dressed. Come on, hurry up. We can't waste a second. It might be too late. The Akatsuki. The perverted hermit once told me about them. They don't want Gaara himself, but what's inside him. Gaara is the same as me. I can't leave him, his life is hanging by a thread. Hold on, Gaara, please, wait for me. Don't let them take a part of you out, or else I'll be powerless. The two are running along the road. They have already left the village, soon the guy led Naruto to that very place. There are still spots of blood on the grass, cuts are visible in the ground. 3 absolutely identical paths go from one place. Well, how are they paths? More like 2 pairs of tracks. Also wrong. A pair of tracks and one wide shallow strip. Where do you think they went? Naruto asked. Wait, Kankuro waved his hand. Looking at each path. This way, the shinobi said, pointing his finger at the central one. Why are you so sure? Uzumaki asked. Gaara knew that they would look for him. Even in such moments, he will find something to show us the way. That's what it means to be a Kazekage. Kankuro openly admired his brother. Look, there is a small path of sand here, and there is none here and there, pointing to the tracks on the left and right, the observant man explained. Yes, Gaara is resourceful. Even in this situation, he found a way to help us, Naruto said. And we must save him. Faster. Let's go. Where are you going? Kakashi asked, appearing out of nowhere. Sensei? But how? Naruto didn't understand. It was easy. You knew that Kankuro's life was no longer in danger and decided to ask him to help you, to show you where the kidnappers went. After all, he was the only one who knew. And Kankuro wouldn't refuse. You're the one who can be trusted. You're the one who changed his brother. And all I had to do was follow you. You're coming with me to the village. We're going to save Gaara, Kankuro countered. And before that, let's stock up on provisions and get equipped, Kakashi added to the brown-haired man's speech. You know, Kankuro, I agree. With only kunai and an empty stomach, we'll only be a burden. We need to go back for a while, Naruto said. But, Kankuro's argument was broken by the rumbling of his stomach. Of course, he hadn't eaten for 3 whole days. Okay, the shinobi finally gave in. That's great. Let's finish all the preparations and hit the road. Hatake raised the guy's spirits. And who are you? Kankuro suddenly asked in the middle of the way. Sorry, what? Who am I? Naruto asked again. Yes. Don't you remember me? The girl asked in surprise. Sorry, but no, the young man answered. Ah, that's it, I remember. You were at the Chunin exam, you defeated Gaara. He told me about you. What's your name? I forgot. The shinobi said, slapping his forehead with his hand. Uzumaki Naruto, the blue-eyed girl answered while in the drop. Exactly. They set out an hour later. The boys had a huge responsibility for the future of Suna and Konoha, but they were only concerned about Gaara's life. The forest near the Akatsuki lair. The 2 partners are walking along the laid path. It's strange to see ninjas walking between the trees, not along them, isn't it? But you must admit, it's quite problematic to make a bulky puppet jump across the trees. The blonde guy and the big puppet, forgive me for this, it's become a habit, have been walking along the planned course since dawn. Behind them, or rather behind the stone apostate, a white bird with a teenager wrapped in its tail was slowly flying. Senpai, let's have a rest, okay? Deidara pleaded in a plaintive voice. No, Sasori answered dryly. They're already waiting for us. I'm hungry, the demolitionist shouted, seeing that his requests had been shattered and scattered into small pieces by the inaccessibility of the senpai. Tell me that my legs are falling off while walking, the puppeteer quipped. They're falling off. Tsukuri objected. Watching this couple from the side, you can see how similar these 2 are to a mother and a small capricious child, insisting on buying another toy. For complete similarity, Deidara only needs to stamp his foot and burst into tears, offended by mommy. You know, I don't like to wait. And to make others wait, Akasuna answered in his usual style. Well, yes, senpai, of course, it's easy for you to say, said the deep-eyed man, clenching his hands into fists. You don't need rest, food, or water. Exactly. That's what makes me different from other people. Get on your work of art and fly. Eat on the way. What's the problem? Sasori offered a logical option. No, Sasori-senpai, I refuse. Deidara said proudly, sitting down in the middle of the path. I won't tolerate such an attitude towards art. You don't understand anything about this. I would answer you for insulting true art, but not now. We will postpone the discussion on this topic for later. The puppeteer said with a heavy heart. Oh, how he wanted to beat the out of this restless boy. And Sasori would have certainly done it, if not for the leader's warning about possible persecution. Get your capricious, young, inexperienced ass, nothing vulgar, up to your underart, Akasuna said sarcastically, emphasizing the prefix under in the last word. We better hurry. Don't lag behind, green snot, the renegade of the sand sneered at his partner, once again, grinning. No, of course he loved this kid, watched him. At first he even came to his aid, citing the clumsiness and inexperience of the newbie, and accompanying all this with barbed remarks addressed to him. In fact, Sasori protected the blonde in his own way, although he did not show it. Love, similar to fatherly, settled in the icy heart of the renegade. But if the conversation turns to art, here Sasori will defend his beliefs with a weapon in his hands, slowly but surely mocking his victim. Everyone watching such a spectacle was surprised how this youth was still alive. Several scars already adorned his young body. No wonder, because he is a shinobi, especially a renegade, you will say. No, it is not because of difficult missions, not because of wounds received from strong enemies, no. This is evidence of the seriousness of Sasori's intentions to firmly defend his beliefs. Imagine how difficult it is for him now to restrain himself from hitting Deidara and finally shutting him up. As luck would have it, there is no time. Patience has never been so useful to Akasuna as now. Ha, what, senpai, are you afraid? Deidara said, squinting his eyes with a hint of joy in his voice. As soon as we get there, I'll give you some, Sasori whispered, looking angrily at the blonde, throwing some kind of knife, lubricated with poison, at the disputant. Hey! Senpai, why? Deidara blurted out, quickly jumping onto his bird, looking with horror at the torn cloak near the shoulder. If I hadn't dodged, I would have died. The demolition man shouted, feeling that he almost died. I almost died, Sasori-san, say this with Anchor's voice acting, Tsukuri said in a dejected voice. It's your fault, the red-haired man answered indifferently, turning around. Come on, don't fall behind, the puppet master, unable to restrain himself, called after him. There was very little left to the organization's lair, it was already visible from the forest. The senpai did not pay attention to Deidara's jibes, no matter how hard the demolition man tried. This made him wary, and he decided to keep quiet. They've arrived, Sasori said. Deidara, he turned to his partner. Sasori-senpai, art is an explosion, period. Deidara replied. You don't understand anything. Art is beauty, but what beauty do you see in the explosion of some bomb? True art should leave a memory behind. We must pass it on to our descendants. No. All beauty reveals itself to the world for only a second and then leaves us. That's art. The demolitionist, jumping up from the bird, furiously objected. And what is eternity? Nothing lasts forever, senpai. Even your far from perfect dolls will be turned to dust by time. They're not perfect, you say, Akasuna said, jingling the puppet's tail and heading towards the blonde. Oops, Deidara caught himself. No, oh. Don't. Tsukuri shouted, throwing his newly made bombs at senpai. Although, my art surpasses yours, senpai, in many respects. Repeat what you said, the puppeteer shouted, attacking the offender with increasing fury. In response, the demolitionist only grinned and dropped a batch of new bombs on the senpai, but of greater power. This went on for quite a long time until Naruto ran out onto the battlefield. Gaara! Naruto screamed, seeing the guy in the bird's tail. Gaara, answer! The almost corpse red-haired Uzumaki continued to call out. Hey, girl, who are you anyway? Deidara turned his attention to the guest with a grin. Naruto, where are you running off to? Sakura said intermittently, running up to the blonde. Wow. We're in deep trouble. Haruna whispered, looking at the guys in Akatsuki uniforms. What did you do to him? Naruto screamed without stopping. Not paying any attention to Sakura. Deidara, look, it's the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox. How lucky. Let's kill two birds with one stone, Sasori said, looking at Kakashi, who had approached. And our enemy is quite strong. Ah, so this is the one Itachi told us about? He described her correctly. And she really started screaming. Wow. She's serious. Well, let's test her strength, haha, Tsukuri said, soaring into the air on his miracle bird. We need to finish her off, quickly. There's not much clay left. I used almost all of it on this. I should have taken more, the demolition man scolded himself, making another bomb. Meanwhile, 5 more people arrived at the clearing, surrounded on one side by a forest, or rather by freshly fallen trees, and on the other by a cliff with a fast-flowing mountain river. Guy, as always, tripped over some branch and fell face down into some log, without finishing his welcoming speech. Lee ran up to the sensei, yelling something about the power of youth. Ten, seeing the stupidity of the situation, slapped her forehead with her hand, groaning in resignation. Niji, watching all this, preferred to pretend like, it's none of my business, I don't know anything, I have no idea who these morons are. Only one person didn't fit into this whole picture at all. A short, gray-haired old woman in Suna clothes looked at the puppet with horror and incomprehension in her eyes. Hirako. Chio said with one mouth. Ha, just look who's here. Sasori said, unable to hold back a chuckle. There are only 2 normal opponents here. The rest are girls, kids, and an old hag. Are there really such a shortage of normal shinobi in the villages? Sasori, the unfortunate grandmother said, recognizing her grandson's voice, but still not believing her ears. Who are you calling girls here? Sakura shouted indignantly, rushing at the offender with her fists. And the girl got going. Deidara said, laughing, watching all this. And you, Dei said, turning to Naruto. Don't you want to bring this young man back? You. Come here. Naruto jumped up and ran after the man in the cloak. Naruto, stop. Kakashi shouted, following after his student. Only Sakura and Chio remained with Sasori. According to the old woman's instructions, Guy, Lee, Niji, and Ten must open the entrance to the criminal's hideout. At this point, the teams split up. Each of them will face their own fate. A girl was running along the edge of the cliff, her head raised up and her eyebrows furrowed, looking at one point. From the side, it looked like she was catching up with someone she couldn't let go of. If she did, she would die immediately. The kunoichi didn't want to lose sight of the object floating weightlessly in the sky. There was only a huge white bird in the sky. If you look closely, a long-haired blonde man in a black cloak with red clouds was standing on it, grinning smugly, his hand in something on his belt. How interesting! Deidara exclaimed, shrugging his shoulders and slightly narrowing his eyes. You, without thinking, rushed in pursuit of me. As soon as I took off with this boy, shaking his head in the direction of the prisoner's location, the guy began to reason, without taking his hand out of his pocket and watching the Jinchuriki's reaction. Naruto's reaction to this was quite unequivocal. Browsing and baring her teeth in a very unkind way, our evil kitty showed her determination to fight to the death, getting on all fours and furiously waving her still only tail from side to side. I'm sure that if the young girl were a real cat, in a fit of fierce hatred and insane rage towards the enemy, she would have ruffled her feathers, raised her tail like a pipe, hunched over and hissed at the man, putting all her anger into her peculiar speech, and would have attacked him with a deafening scream, meow xd, digging her sharp claws into the demolition man's skin. Oh oh. And our kitty went crazy. How cute. Deidara drawled sarcastically, chuckling and actively gesturing with his hands. In response to these words, Naruto growled furiously, jerked from her place, abruptly disappearing from the enemy's field of vision. Thus, the young lady confused her enemy, which she decided to take advantage of. Having sent more chakra to her feet, the kitty almost reached this dotted bird, as she was pulled down and 3 of the same white birds appeared before her eyes, but smaller in size. The girl, concentrating on the implementation of her plan, which had matured in her head in a matter of seconds, did not immediately hear the half-whisper of the blonde, who gave the command to detonate his bombs. The next second, Uzumaki lost sight of her target. The criminal was covered by a veil of smoke, his most reliable support and protection in all the years of his life under the banners of the Red Clouds. Since the time when the shinobi was in the ranks of this criminal organization, he has come a long way from a cheerful, daring, devoted to his homeland, friend's boy to a tough killer, capable of killing a victim without even approaching her, with one movement of his palm. But he was significantly different from the rest of the gray mass of the criminal world. This cute young blonde falls asleep every day, thinking about his life. Now he clearly knows what he really wants, what he would decide on without thinking, and what he would never do for anything in the world, unlike, for example, Kakuzu, and he greeted every dawn with the thought of freedom, the opportunity to return back to the village to his beloved. Perhaps, this is why he did not lose his radiant smile, positive attitude, still hoped for the best, did not let anger and bloodlust win over him. He was able to remain unstained, but at the same time, his hands are elbow-deep in blood. Deidara still had a heart, so he never killed anyone with his own hands. Only with the help of his little birds, loyal only to him. This became his unique style. And Naruto saw his heart. The heart of a fighter for his life, who is holding on with all his might and will soon give up. And that is why her naive girl's heart was trying to reach his already closing one. Since the only way to do this was to win the battle, Naruto was ready to fight to the end. Until complete victory. Right now, in these moments, when Deidara was trying to elude her, attacking only from afar, the girl realized that there were still people left in the ranks of this organization of crazy thugs. Without despair, the kunoichi randomly threw 2 kunai with explosive seals into the curtain of smoke. But, as expected, both missed. Her extensive experience in criminal life and excellent skill, trained every day on dangerous missions, had an effect. Or in the lair itself, when the renegade was escaping from Haiden or Kakuzu, or from Itachi. After waiting for the smoke to clear completely, Naruto was preparing to make the next attack, as the determined girl at the moment of readiness was, frozen one place, peering into the blonde's eyes, as if looking for something there. Not believing herself and confirming her assumptions at the same time, Naruto stood motionless, unable to move. As if something paralyzed her, she peered into the enemy's eyes, hoping to find there again what she saw a couple of seconds ago, namely sadness, pity for the poor girl, a plea to help him get rid of this oppression. And now he quickly, headlong dives down, to this very defenseless young lady, as always, molding something in one hand. It seems that he does not carry any weapons with him. This explosive is his only weapon. Flash. One moment and the girl lies on the ground. The world fades in her eyes. She hears the quiet steps of the winner. Oddly enough, she has no sense of fear of him, for some reason she knows he won't kill her. Now she feels the steps fade away, the shinobi leans over her, laughing bitterly, examining her now deplorable state. "Remember, girl," the blonde said kindly with a grin. "Never pity your opponent." "Never." The criminal stood up and, sighing heavily, went off somewhere, leaving the Jinchuriki alive. What a girl. Recently I was ready to kill her, and now it seems she is the only one who understood me. And she understood almost without talking to me. Now and only now, it dawned on me. What an idiot I am, honestly. After all, it was she who helped the one-tailed and set him on the right path. Too bad it won't work with me anymore. I will die as an S-class criminal, shackled in the shackles of Akatsuki. How I hate this cruel world. This girl has no idea what awaits her, but she must live and go through all this. And I will definitely never be able to finish her off, thought Deidara, slowly walking towards his bird. One jump, and he is already at the top. His faithful white friend soars into the sky, and our bridle of fate sighs heavily and, casting a sad look at his defeated opponent, abruptly takes off on his snow-white horse. On the young, juicy, green grass lay a young body, gently blown by weak gusts of wind. Hair the color of sunbeams fluttered in time with the wind, and the weakly swaying grass barely tickled the ankles, palms, and neck of the girl, whose body was covered in multiple abrasions and scratches, under the influence of the explosive force in some places turned into scraps of fabric, large gaping holes. The young lady, having come to her senses, could not tear herself away from Mother Earth, although she really wanted to. The girl breathed measuredly, trying to open at least one eye in order to see this whole world around her. After some time, she succeeded only thanks to perseverance and superhuman efforts. How much strength did it cost Naruto to say, "Is anyone here?" But instead of the expected words, only a wheeze escaped from the girl's throat. And her condition was not the best. The weakness in her body, the leaden heaviness that spread through Uzumaki's veins with each attempt to rise, tired the Jinchuriki even more. The throbbing headache overshadowed all other sensations, making all attempts to rise impossible. Despite her terrible condition, the kunoichi still made unsuccessful attempts to at least take a sitting position, demonstrating all her persistence and zeal for what she desired. "What?" Naruto screamed, falling to the ground without strength. "What?" Cries of despair burst from the broken girl's chest. He. Oh, not you," Naruto sighed painfully. "Well, hello, written beauty. How are you?" The tormentor continued, smiling sarcastically. "Ninetails, leave me alone, I feel sick without you. Or maybe I wanted to help you?" "You shouldn't have done that, Naruto, you shouldn't have," the fox began to scold the girl. "Help? How, I wonder," Uzumaki continued disrespectfully. "And you still hate me? And how should I treat you if you killed my parents, how?" Naruto couldn't stand it, breaking into a scream. "Your parents were the kindest people and strong shinobi. And while you need my power, you yourself will lie around for a long time like a doormat," the Bija said casually. "They'll pick up the Akatsuki on the way, then they'll definitely pull me out of you and there won't be any problems. That's it. So listen to me, girl," the Bija said seriously. Of course, he wanted to screw with her right away and show her how to talk to his kind. But over the years spent in the body of his third Jinchuriki, the fox learned to restrain his rage and anger to some extent. Perhaps this will seem strange to someone, but even such cruel monsters are not alien to bright feelings. Even such monsters have a soul. Even they have their own, sometimes completely different views on life. "Don't be stubborn," the fox said with a sigh, to which Naruto did not react in any way. "You and I have the same goal. It is to free Gaara. Everyone is doing this for their own reasons. Don't you think that cooperation will bear fruit much faster?" Kurama asked, resting his head on his paws. Now he knew that the kunoichi would not be able to refuse, so he could allow himself to relax, completely unashamed of the situation or his Jinchuria. "So how are you going to help me?" Naruto asked reluctantly, crossing her arms over her chest. Naruto was trying hard to hide her very strong dissatisfaction with the situation. She tilted her head to the side, thinking about the possible scenarios. First, Naruto, it would be good for you to restore your strength, and then your chakra reserves. If you use up yours in battle, I will share some with you, the fox said, lazily wagging his tail. "Okay, nine-tailed," Naruto said quietly after a long silence. "You convinced me," and Naruto, internally cursing this demon, nevertheless approached his cage, realizing that there was no other way out for now. The girl was raging in her soul, splashing out her rage and anger, doom and hopelessness into a stream of stormy thoughts. Yes, the girl decided to unite with the one because of whom so many troubles fell on her. She clearly understood the consequences of this. The fox will be one step closer to his goal, to freedom. But even if she has to pay such a price, she will pay, if only Gaara survives. So much had happened lately. Naruto thought about this guy more and more often, missed him, yearned, was sad without him. She suddenly wanted to see his bottomless eyes again, which fascinate, draw you in, like into a pool. She wanted to hear his velvety voice, which has a hypnotic effect on the girl. She wanted to feel again that strange feeling of calm and security in his presence. For this, Naruto is ready to temporarily muffle her heart, step on her pride's throat, press her. Having cast a little spell on the girl, Fox carefully watched the surroundings while Naruto was looking for the guys from Akatsuki. It didn't take long to guess. Explosions indicated the location of the criminals, fire was visible, and soon one of the people in black rose into the air. Something in this guy's movements seemed strange, new to Uzumaki. However, she still went to meet him, closely watching the blonde. Having created shadow clones, Naruto sat down to rest. The last fight took a lot of her strength. Even after Fox's treatment, Naruto was not easy. Meanwhile, Gaara. Oh. Where am I? What the happened? I need to get up. Gaara thought, gradually coming to his senses. No matter how much he tried to get up or at least sit up, or, at worst, open his eyes, nothing came of it. Sighing resignedly, the guy remained lying in the same place in the same position. Suddenly, the Jinchuriki was doused with water. Hearing the clanking of weapons, explosions, the annoying crackle of some mechanisms and someone's muffled groans, he opened his eyes in horror, which not long ago did not give in to the desire of their master. Only now, at this second, reality finally burst into the sleeping brain of the Kazekage. Literally in a second, some kind of discharge went through the young man's body, and his heart, squeezing, skipped a couple of beats. Here it is, the feeling of fear. This is what Gaara had not experienced practically since his birth. With difficulty forcing his eyelids, as if filled with lead, to stay open, the exhausted Gaara tried to look around, to understand where he was and what he should do. However, he saw nothing but pitch darkness, and he also did not understand what was restricting his movements. Out of despair, the guy tiredly shook his head from side to side, trying to at least somehow distract himself from the incomprehensible situation surrounding him. And as soon as the thought of liberation visited his poor red head, he felt himself sharply dive down, and then upside down soar somewhere upward. This powerful shake forced all the organ systems of the young organism, except for the excretory system, of course, to fully engage in work. This is where the truly real Gaara returned. With his characteristic composure, he began to draw up a plan for his liberation. Having thought out all the details in a matter of seconds, the young man decided for the first time after his liberation to act according to the situation. Let's return to our beloved reality. Naruto moved to a more convenient location without any plan of attack. And this despite the fact that her opponents were S-rank criminals. Why? Why can't I attack? Naruto whispers in confusion, sitting limply on a branch of some tree that had carefully covered her. Come on, Naruto, pull yourself together. You're not a snotty little girl, stop whining. Quietly scolding herself so that the enemy wouldn't hear, Naruto, gathering her will into a fist, slowly inhaled and exhaled, thereby calming herself. Who, if not me? After all, I'm here just to help him. Shaking her blonde head, the kunoichi, having folded the seal, concentratedly dividing the chakra given to her by the fox, said, Shadow clone. At the same moment, her exact copy appeared next to her, who, unsuspectingly, was gobbling up her favorite ramen with both cheeks. Hey! Was all the shocked Naruto original could say. However, there was no reaction. Stop eating, leave some for me, the Jinchuriki almost screamed, but, catching herself in time, she yelled this indignantly into the ear of her frightened, stunned clone. And don't meftai dafe. The clone said incomprehensibly, stuffing another portion of ramen into his mouth. Hey! Naruto jumped up abruptly, screaming loudly. Where am I? Straightening up to her full height, the girl nervously looked around, trying to understand at least something. Oh, sorry, sister, whispered the double, smiling embarrassedly. What's the plan? Uzumaki said, awkwardly scratching her head. To our unsurprise, it only just dawned on her where she was, who she was, and why she was here. It took a long time for the kunoichi to come down to earth. And this ramen, which was the food of the gods, Uzumaki's favorite food, was to blame for everything. I wonder how her stomach didn't get worse. Her immunity probably developed over many years, heh. After whispering for a couple of minutes, the girls came up with what they thought was a good plan. However, the real Naruto spent a long time explaining the essence and all the nuances to her assistant. When all misunderstandings were eliminated, the twins silently headed to their positions, carefully jumping from branch to branch. Haha, well, defenders of the native village, the strongest of its ninja, come on, show me what you are capable of. Deidara, who had gotten a taste for the fight, added fuel to the fire, laughing sarcastically from time to time. Kiayaya. With a warlike cry of the young warrior, a decent number of ordinary steel kunai with explosive seals were stuck into the white viscous belly of a huge clay bird. Of course, this did not blow the bird to smithereens, however, a powerful explosion did take place. It was he who corrected all the flaws, putting a tick under the item destruction of the criminal's means of transportation. Deidara, not understanding anything, reflexively jumped onto a nearby tree. Out of the corner of his ear he still heard a caustic jab from Kakashi, who threw a chuckle, smiling maliciously, as if by chance said, "Cats." Following the path of the blonde with a mocking glance, Hatake observed the changes on the face of the object of recent ridicule. Grinning triumphantly, the Konoha ninja can finally throw caution to the wind and dive headlong into the mesmerizingly attractive whirlpool of battle, in which taking risks is a pleasure. Seeing the spark of hatred in the enemy's eyes, which at the speed of light took on the dimensions of a raging flame, and then an uncontrollable fire, the copy ninja hurried to take Deidara aside, away from his young students. Although a thought flashed through the sensei's bright head, is it worth it? They'll kill each other too. That's all I need. However, the Jonin could not come up with a better plan, and there was no time left to think. Kakashi preferred to carry his bones wherever his eyes looked, while there was still the opportunity. The expression on the face of the enraged Deidara, who was running after him, showed his mood. And the blonde was determined to wipe the offender into dust for mockery. And the eternally late man's sense of humor, it must be admitted, is at its best. Kakashi, without thinking twice, picked up speed, leading his opponent deep into the forest. Meanwhile, on the recent battlefield. Oh, Kakashi-sensei, that's not fair. Naruto shouted after Sensei, descending from the tree to her clone. She understood perfectly well that Kakashi saw her, constantly watching her with his keen eye, tracking her chakra with his Sharingan. She, in turn, peered intently at the silhouette of the teacher, and his barely noticeable nod became a signal for Naruto to attack. And the clone, seeing no point in staying here any longer, evaporated into his native universe. Naruto came to her senses and stopped scolding Hatake for taking away the opportunity to finally get even with Tsukuri, who was infuriating her. Turning her head, Naruto forgot how to breathe. Her eyes widened in surprise as soon as she saw the pale Gaara, whom she hadn't seen for 3 years, on Sakura's lap. Her heart traitorously ached from despair, tears welled up in her eyes from an excess of feelings. And our little Naruto still stood motionless and, as if paralyzed, could not move anything. Naruto's POV. Gaara, you've changed so much. I hardly recognize you. Your calm, pale face seemed peaceful under the wing of sleep. And if I think about it, I've never seen you asleep. You look so cute when you sleep. Well, if, of course, losing consciousness can be considered sleep. And how can I not smile, looking at you now? Even when you're unconscious, the changes in you are very noticeable. You've changed for the better, Gaara. All that's left of the old you are my beloved fiery red hair and the scarlet kanji for love scratched over your left eye. I wish I could look into them now, drown in their deep abyss. Wow, I don't know how to accurately describe the color of your eyes, although I remember them most of all about you, heh. Oops. Hee, Gaara, your mother. I'm going to die laughing here. How come I didn't notice this before? What are you doing with your eyebrows? Why don't you have any? Ahahai. And the Kazakage has a secret. How I love it, XOO. Eyebrowless, huh? But the aristocratic features of the face are expressed more significantly. So, a straight nose, even lips, a strong chin, a neck that's just right. Yes, you're not bad, not bad. I swear by the nine-tailed fox, now he has no end of girls. So what? He's handsome, smart, and strong. He even became a Kage at such an early age. What else does he need to be happy? I wonder if he has a family? A wife, children? Of course he does. I'm sure about his wife, but it's probably too early for him to have children. There were rumors that even his character had changed. There is no more cruelty, bloodthirstiness, hatred. I would like to believe it. Sliding my gaze over him, I immediately noticed his broad shoulders, strong chest, slowly and slightly inhaling and exhaling, still athletic figure. Well, yeah, where would we be without it? Such a ninja can't swim in fat, haha. Oh, my. You shouldn't have imagined it. No, Gaara wouldn't stoop that low. And what about his hands, Kazakage, did you become like this on purpose? Broad-shouldered, and the bones on his palms are also visible. And on top of that, his skin is like this. It's mind-blowing. I could have stared at it for a long time without looking away. Then my gaze moved lower and lower. Finishing examining this miracle Udo, I noted several details of what seemed to me to be a perfect body. And you've grown. Probably a head taller than me. And look how you've dressed up. Although it suits you, what can I hide? I looked at his face again. You're handsome now. I can't even wake you up, but I want to so much. I'm not a monster, I understand that with Shikaku you rarely fall asleep even now. You can tell by the same dark circles under your eyes. But I've gotten so used to them that it seems to me that they are an irreplaceable part of you. Sleep, baby. You need strength. And I'll go for now. Naruto POV end. Naruto, preoccupied with her thoughts, did not notice the loud shout, noise and hubbub, did not hear the sounds of footsteps, more like the tramp of a running elephant. You should have seen the kunoichi's face when in less than 5 minutes, Gaara was almost completely covered by some huge crowd of people. Only by their protectors did Naruto realize that these were ninja from the Sand Village, who were rejoicing at seeing their Kazakage alive. It was understandable. And they really loved you, Uzumaki thought bitterly. Well, I won't interfere. And this is probably your girlfriend. She smiles so happily. I wish you happiness. Looking painfully into the eyes of her beloved for the last time, Naruto laid out everything that could and could not be said. Gaara did not need words. He preferred silence to empty talk. Words are silver, silence is gold, as they say. The girl quickly turned around, quickly walking away. Wiping away tears from her sky-colored eyes, Naruto kept remembering that piercing look in his eyes. Now she definitely couldn't forget him. Love had grown strong roots into her girlish heart. Love in someone like her. It hurts. How painful it is to see this, Uzumaki whispered through tears, walking slowly. They need you, they love you, you are their hope. It is obvious, because you are the head of the village. But I can't watch this without jealousy. That girl hugged you so warmly. This eats away at the heart, like acid. The Jinchuriki sank under some tree, because she could not go further due to the veil of tears that covered her eyes. Gaara. It can't be. Why you? Of all of them, you? Was it really impossible for me to love someone else? Why, the girl's body shook in silent sobs, her palms, clenched into fists, beat the ground, as if in agony. The little sufferer screamed without making a sound, which made the pain in her head become more and more intense. Her eyes were already burning from the stormy flow of tears. And in her soul it was even worse. Disgustingly bad, sickening, and vile. Half an hour later, the sobbing subsided. All the feelings that had recently raged in her soul suddenly subsided, returning control of the body to her mind. She had no more strength, she just wanted to sleep. Repeating only a quiet, "Why, Naruto," curled up, began to fall asleep. Through the veil of sleep, she heard a disapproving sigh, and then felt herself in someone's strong arms. Mentally thanking the man, Naruto allowed herself to fall asleep, knowing that she could easily trust him with her life. Before going into the arms of sleep, the girl felt a breath of wind and how her fragile body was pressed to himself by the shinobi, protecting him from the whole world. Her mind finally went to rest under the even knock of the soles of her shoes on the branches of old trees. Naruto's POV. How good. I don't even want to wake up. I could lie around like this forever on this soft bed. Oh, my body aches badly. And my eyes won't open. Okay, if you don't want to, no need, I wouldn't mind sleeping for another hour myself. My strength will be fully restored, and I'll have time to rest. Oh yes, sleep, I'm coming to you. So I slept in my warm little bed for another 30 minutes, well, maybe an hour or two. I have a poor sense of time. Oh, it's time to get up, or my sides will be completely sore. Did I really manage to get enough sleep? It's even somehow strange. And one too. Talking to myself, I was able to sit up, and that was already not bad. I had just started to yawn, opening my mouth wider than the collar, when, stretching peacefully, I heard a clap behind me. Naruto POV end. Eh. Naruto's deafening squeal seemed to be heard throughout the entire area. Pervert. Naruto cried out, blushing, instantly pulling the blanket up to her chin. Sensei, read your perverted books, but don't look at me in my underwear. I'm lying here defenseless, maybe you want to rape me? Uzumaki kept screaming, crawling to the opposite side of the bed. Yo, Naruto-chan. Kakashi greeted him as usual, waving his palm left and right, quickly putting another book in his pocket. How are you? Better already? Hatake asked, walking slowly. Well, a lot, Naruto replied, awkwardly fiddling with the edge of the large duvet cover. Wait, where are you from? Uzumaki asked, raising her head in surprise. Yes, Naruto. I picked you up in the forest, the Jonin answered, sitting down next to the blonde. You're no heavier than a feather, the man added, watching the red cheeks of the student. Eating only ramen will not lead to anything good, Kakashi lectured, coming to the window. That's why I brought you some normal, healthy food. Here, take it, the man said, putting the heavy bag on the bed. Maybe you'll get better, he said sarcastically. Thank you, sensei. I haven't eaten anything normal in a long time, the girl said, looking at the contents of the bag with interest. But for me, ramen is life. Heh. Sensei? Naruto, whose left eyebrow was twitching nervously, under Hataki's indifferent gaze, took out handcuffs from a bag with various tasty treats. Naruto, give it to me. Kakashi said in a voice that was no longer indifferent. This is not for you, the very embarrassed Jonin took the handcuffs from the girl. Ouch, Kakashi-sensei, the girl said in a didactic tone. Shame on you. Oh, okay, you're not old enough to discuss things like that yet, Kakashi said. By the way, how are you? Huh? Sensei, what are you talking about? Naruto asked, genuinely confused. About what you were doing yesterday in the pouring rain in the forest, the teacher calmly explained the essence of the question. It doesn't matter, Uzumaki said absent-mindedly, embarrassedly hiding her eyes under her bangs. Uzumaki, Kakashi said firmly, crossing his arms. Tell me. No, the student resisted just as stubbornly. Oh, okay, Hatake spread his hands. If anything, Gaara is in the third room on the floor above. The man slowly left the room, leaving the young girl alone with her thoughts. Naruto's POV. Hey, Kakashi-sensei. I belatedly called out after the door slammed. Where are you from? Oh, never mind. I waved my hand indifferently and thoughtfully scratched the back of my head. But really, I should visit Gaara. Once again, lazily glancing around the spacious, bright little room, I came across Sensei's present. Burning with curiosity, I shook out all the contents onto the bed and threw the bag, which didn't interest me, far to the side. So let's get started. Well, what do we have here? I whispered impatiently under my breath, throwing my hair back. Yeah. Fruit. Nothing interesting. You're a bore, sensei. So uninteresting. I sadly stuffed everything back when suddenly my favorite ramen caught my eye. Kakashi-san, I love you. I thanked my savior, licking my lips. Oh. Just like in Ichiraku. Wonderful, this is what I need. And still, sensei is good, I reasoned while unsealing my favorite food. Well. Gaara can wait. Food is more expensive. Sitting in the lotus position, I had a conversation with myself. Since there was no water here, let alone boiling water, I ate dry food, gobbling up the precious dish with both cheeks. With a blissful sigh, I stroked my stuffed belly. 2 packs weren't enough, but at least I ate something. Having finally somewhat satisfied my hunger, I managed to make my bed and dress more or less nicely. I didn't stand on ceremony with my hair, I just combed it a little and left it loose. It'll do, almost no one here knows me anyway. So, what did Kakashi-san tell me? My brain tried to remember as I left the room. The first room on the next floor? Probably so, I said thoughtfully. Examining every little thing in the corridor, slowly headed towards the room that interested me. I must say, the interior was quite tolerable by my standards. Quickening my pace, I went up the stairs and immediately, without much ceremony, opened the door. However, the next second I slammed it, blushing deeply. Oops, that's all I said then. There. Well, anyway. I'm so ashamed. Kankuro was kissing some half-naked girl. And then a sleepy Tamari in a dressing gown came out of the room, barely suppressing a yawn. She probably decided to check who was ripping everything off here. Oh, it's you, the girl said, smiling good-naturedly. Like a weight off my shoulders. What do you want? She asked. I need to find Gaara's room, I said, embarrassed. Ah, well, here it is, pointing her finger at the third room, the kunoichi went into her own. Most likely, to finish her dream. What a fool I am. I cried out, slapping my forehead. Carefully approaching Gaara's room, I listened. Voices could be heard in the room. I slowly opened the door, examining it with one eye. I wish I hadn't done that. There was a crowd of people standing by the guy's bed. And Kakashi-san was among them. Couldn't he have waited for me? They would have come together then. For some reason, tears blurred my eyes. I felt hurt. What's wrong? They were just visiting their beloved Kage, celebrating his return. And I reacted like this. What can I do? I must have fallen in love. Fell in love with him. I tried to close the door as quietly as possible. But as always, my attempt ended in failure. The door slammed. Well done, you can't even close the door. I muttered to myself through tears. I don't know how, but I found a way out of this new building. I wanted to run away, to hide from everyone. My soul was torn to pieces. Do I really mean absolutely nothing to him? I pushed myself off the ground with all my anger and jumped onto the wall of the round building. Walking along it, I reached the roof. My favorite place. No one will find me here, that's for sure. Sitting on the edge and dangling my legs, I gave free rein to my feelings. God, how it hurts. I don't want to endure it. One after another, tears rolled from my eyes, falling onto my knees. Opening my mouth, I screamed in a silent cry. I sat on the roof, clutching my head in my hands. A whirlwind of thoughts in my head. Why did this happen to me? Why him? Why? Naruto POV end. Gaara's POV. As always, I came to the roof of my residence just to lie down and think about my own things. Today I finally slept well. I don't like people, I want to be alone. Loneliness has always accompanied me throughout my life, but only now have I understood its charm. But suddenly, I heard sobs. Abruptly sitting up, I saw her. She was crying. How? Why? I'll shake the guts out of whoever did this. I won't let anyone hurt her. She is my treasure, that's the only thing I know. I have mixed feelings about her, because it was she who showed me my path. Thanks to her, I now live peacefully, and not smear another corpse on the wall. The memories make me shudder. What I was. Naruto. I whispered tenderly, touching her shoulder. I feel that she needs support. But will I be able to? My soul is still empty, but I can't just watch. Gaara? She seems surprised. But it's time to act. I sat down next to her, hugging her shoulders. She hid her blonde head in my shoulder, so cutely. She doesn't want me to see her tears. Well, let it be your way. Don't cry, Naruto, I said quietly. She only shuddered and began to cry even harder. These girls are strange creatures. Anyway, I can't stand to see her cry. I think I'm in love. I'll have to talk to Temari about this. I hope she'll understand and the conversation will be without jokes and teasing. You. In the ROM, the little girl said in a weak, trembling voice. It's a clone. I don't like a lot of attention to myself, I admitted honestly. I can't hear her sobs. As soon as she calms down, I'll ask her about everything. First of all, for the sake of peace of mind, if I still have one, of course, I'll beat up that. Hush hush, honey, don't cry. Oh, God, what did I just say? But I feel so good and calm next to her. Like I've never felt with anyone else. Gaara, Naruto sighed. Stay with me, please, the girl asked more calmly. If you need it, I'll be there. I'll always support you. You can lean on me now. You can. End of Gaara's POV. So the two sat there, hugging each other. Each was thinking about his own thing, but both felt good in each other's arms. Your smile is wonderful. Not even that. Your smile is just wonderful. Shines, appears from nowhere. And sometimes even stones are not indifferent. On the very edge of the roof of a tall building, two people were sitting, tightly hugging each other. The fair head of a cute, little girl was resting on the strong chest of a guy who had placed a sharp chin on the top of her head. Kage, as if peering into the distance, was thinking about many things. Silence hung. However, it did not put pressure on the couple. On the contrary, they both were now comfortable being silent together. She needed to calm down her raging feelings. He needed to pull himself together mentally, try not to put pressure on her. Just have a calm heart-to-heart talk. Long time no see, Naruto-chan, Gaara said warmly, stroking the girl's back. Yes, a long time ago, Uzumaki supported the conversation, but was in no hurry to move away. I see you've grown up, the blonde noticed, raising her head, giggling. Perhaps, the guy agreed. Noticing that his friend had calmed down more or less, Gaara decided not to limit himself to the choice of topic. Now tell me how you are, the Jinchuriki said after a short silence. Sighing heavily, the kunoichi was tossing and turning in her thoughts. Should I tell him? Will he accept it? Will he understand? A lot has happened since our last meeting, Naruto said as if calming herself down. In general, I would like to listen to your stories. I am very interested. Uzumaki looked into Gaara's eyes with hope. Haha, no, only after the ladies, he insisted softly, but still. And their gazes met. Two absolutely identical gazes, filled with the same feelings, differ only in color. Well, I trained a lot and became stronger. Now I can use my father's technique. True, not as well as he did, but still, Naruto began his story with enthusiasm and sparkles in her eyes. As soon as I arrived in the village with my teacher, they quickly formed a team to save you, which I joined. True, I did very little useful, Naruto dejected. But I really wanted to see you. And here I am, the kunoichi finished as quickly as she began. Girlish curiosity got the better of her. Of course, she wanted to listen to Gaara's stories, so she briefly described the last 3 years of her life to him. And he already knew the rest. Back then, in Konoha, no one interfered with their conversations at night. Apparently, the tradition is destined to be renewed. Your turn, Uzumaki said with interest. There was no trace left of the tears. You know, I've thought about your words a lot since I left Konoha, Gaara said thoughtfully. And I realized that I lived incorrectly. Thank you, Naruto, the Kazekage smiled happily and hugged the kunoichi. I'm glad you realized it, Naruto said, smiling back with a dazzling smile. Always smile like that. No one should see your tears. No one deserves it, the red-haired man suddenly added. And you know, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here now. Thank you. I want to tell you a lot. I don't know how to explain it, but I want to protect you always, no matter what, always be by your side, and not let anyone near you, Gaara sighed heavily. This is new to me. The next moment he saw that sunny smile and those blue eyes again. Naruto heard everything she needed. Even if it was a little unusual, clumsy, but for Uzumaki, everything fell into place. That painful look of his in her direction when he had just woken up, the hugs here on the roof, the loud beating of his heart, the slight tremor in his hands, the barely audible trembling of his voice. And the timidly plump girlish lips pressed against the soft, warm lips of her beloved boyfriend, and the gentle miniature hands comfortably settled on the back of his head. Both she and Gaara clearly heard the beating of the blue-eyed girl's heart. The guy, smiling barely noticeably, wrapped his arms around the waist of his now girlfriend and tenderly, lovingly responded to the kiss. Naruto Uzumaki, from now on you are mine, Gaara whispered, catching his breath, as proof he hugged his beloved tighter. And you are mine, the smiling Jinchuriki said tenderly and touched his lips with hers again, fully tasting them. This couple doesn't need anything else to be happy. They've gone through their long, difficult journey and received their reward. So two young hearts began to beat in the same rhythm, and two similar paths of life intertwined. That's the end of the story.